Chapter 862. The crisis is temporarily resolved, of course. Like Crown Prince Crocodile, they did not think that Yi Shiwen beheaded Yi Xiangtian, but he might have something to do with this. Everyone looked at Yi Shiwen. Initially, he was just a half-step transcendent realm. It was impossible to attract their attention. But at this time, he attracted everyone's attention. Among them, in addition to the few members of the Wang family, only Scarlet Thunder Immortal, who clashed against Yi Shiwen once, knew that Yi Ziwen's half-step transcendent realm was not as simple as it seemed. Although it was only half-step transcendent realm, it was not just half-step transcendent realm. Although she didn't try her best at the time, that shouldn't be what a regular half-step transcendent realm warrior could do. Speak up. I may spare your life. Crown Prince Crocodile yelled violently. It affected everyone to the soul. It brought great deterrence. If Yi Shiwen were just an ordinary half-step transcendent realm warrior, the shock would make him a retard on the spot. The Crown Prince Crocodile disregarded Yi Ziwen's life at all. He wanted Yi Shiwen to speak out while he was in a trance. This method was supposedly effective, but the one affected had to pay the price, turning into a retard on the spot. Crown Prince Crocodile's ruthlessness could be seen. He would not let Yi Shiwen go in any case. It was only a matter of whether Yi Shiwen died with body parts intact or not. When the spiritual attack surged forward, the Mingxin ancient tree immediately emitted bursts of colorful divine light to engulf Yi Ziwen's spiritual sea, preventing Yi Shiwen from being directly bombarded into an idiot. Crown Prince Crocodile, do you think there is no else from our human clan? Do you think you can kill whoever you want to kill? Then there was a clear voice. A ray of sword aura pierced the vast sky, dispersing the attack approaching Yi Ziwen's head. Unparalleled sword, you dare to stop me? Crown Prince Crocodile yelled. He had never been stopped like this before, and he immediately became angry. Crown Prince Crocodile's eyes shot two spiritual rays, shimmering in the void. A figure slowly emerged, but it was a tall young man with an ordinary face. He seemed sharp. His eyebrows were diagonal to the temple, like two long flying swords. In those eyes it looked like countless sword chis were being nurtured in it. He is a sword master. Yi Shiwen made a judgment in his heart immediately. Unlike ordinary experts, sword masters often had a bit of sword aura on them. Sword Dao itself was an extreme martial art. Some people even used their avatars to reach the advanced state of Sword Dao. The person would appear sharp. If one were to close his eyes and didn't look at a sword master, the perception feedback would tell him that it was a sword floating in the sky. Why don't I dare? Said the young man plainly. Unparalleled sword aura had faintly condensed. His momentum was compelling and unbending. Do you know that this person is related to the killing of my vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan? You are doing this against our entire clans, said Crown Prince Crocodile coldly, his voice like a vicious beast roaring. Forget that there is no evidence pointing that it has anything to do with him. Even if it happens, it isn't a big deal. How many people of my clan die at the hands of your vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan every year? Are your vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan so precious that they aren't to be killed? Unparalleled Sword raised his eyebrows slightly. There was an unscrupulous arrogance to it. Yea, well said. What's the matter? It is already dead. Everyone present felt a thrill in their hearts. Yup, what is not lacking in this endless sea region? Many people die every year. It's not surprising that hundreds of experts die a day. What is strange about being dead? You can't die just because it is your vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan. All human experts present felt a sense of exhilaration. Every time they collided with these sea clans, they would cower. In this complex and endless deep sea, taking a wrong step might cause the entire force to be wiped out. But there were always unscrupulous people, just like the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan. They did not want to have a life and death war if various human forces. But the Crown Prince Crocodile was still unscrupulous and domineering. There were not many such characters in any clan group. Great, unparalleled sword, unparalleled sword. Crown Prince Crocodile sneered. Do you dare to leave the city and have a fight? Crown Prince Crocodile had not lost his senses yet, and resolved their grievances in this city. Why don't I dare? Unparalleled Sword just said faintly. He then stepped on a martial sword rainbow under his feet and quickly moved towards a distance. Crown Prince Crocodile followed, wrapped in a black light, and chased directly. Seeing Crown Prince Crocodile chasing out, everyone was relieved. However, the pressure on Yi Shiwen did not decrease. He had no intention to be high-profile, but the fact was that countless people's eyes were all looking at him. "Brat, does the death of our clan member have something to do with you? Who killed our clan member?" A louder voice appeared above the tea house. A sharp gaze took over Crown Prince Crocodile and locked at Yi Shiwen. Everyone looked at the source. It was another young expert from the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. Although he was not as intimidating as Crown Prince Crocodile, he was not inferior to Bai Chun. Someone recognized this young expert from the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan, Ying. Compared with Crown Prince Crocodile, Ying was even more famous. Crown Prince Crocodile had been fighting outside the Flourished Cloud Sea region most of the time. Ying was second to Crown Prince Crocodile. He was relatively young, and yet had gained a lot of fame. Almost the same attitude as Crown Prince Crocodile. Looking at Yi Shiwen coldly, as if looking at a dead person. The eyes of the human experts in the surrounding people suddenly changed. This Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan was too rude and unreasonable. Without any evidence, they would grab anyone as they like. The human experts found it unacceptable. As the protagonist, Yi Shiwen was alerted like a cheetah. He might launch an attack at any time. Yi Shiwen sighed. It seemed that he had to flee before the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion opened. The Crown Prince Crocodile would not be able to deal with him. If it weren't the unparalleled sword driving Crown Prince Crocodile away, Yi Shiwen had probably fled already. "Ying, what do you want to do?" Yao Qian said all of a sudden while staring at Ying upstairs. "This person has a lot of suspicions related to the person who killed my clan members." Ying looked at Yao Qian and said unyieldingly, "He is now a guest of my Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce. We will not let him be taken away by you," said Yao Qian plainly. Yi Shiwen also looked at Yao Qian in amazement, wondering why Yao Qian suddenly spoke up for him. Was it really because he was a guest? What a joke. He hadn't stepped into the auction yet. How could he be counted as a guest? "Does your Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce want to cause trouble?" Ying asked coldly. "Although my Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce adheres to the principle of making money with harmony, we're not cowards. We don't like to stir up any issues, but it doesn't mean that we won't get serious." Yao Qian did not give in, as if she had made up her mind to protect Yi Shiwen. Many people around also looked at Yao Qian baffled. They did not know what happened to her. Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce was a substantial force and had business deals in the entire Flourished Cloud Sea region. However, there was still a significant gap compared to a behemoth like the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. However, the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan would not wage war with Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce, just because of this trivial matter. However, some people nod their heads as if they knew why. Ying stared at Yao Qian fiercely, but in the end, he didn't stick to his stance. After all, he was not Crown Prince Crocodile. He could not act lawlessly even if he wanted to. Besides, Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce, even Crown Prince Crocodile would be wary too. At this time, Yao Qian insisted on saving Yi Shiwen. He could not do anything about it. You can't protect him forever. There is no one escaping from the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan, said Ying coldly. You are not qualified to represent the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan, said Yao Qian mercilessly. Ying's face suddenly turned sour, but Yao Qian was right. Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce was undoubtedly not as scary as the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. Still, the problem was that he was not qualified to make any decisions on behalf of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. On the other hand, Yao Qian could. Based on this alone, he had no way to deal with Yao Qian. You will regret it, said Ying coldly. Whether I regret it or not is something in the future. If you have nothing else, then be gone. Our Chamber of Commerce auction will begin soon. Yao Qian didn't want to talk nonsense to him. Ying snorted and flew down directly from the tea house. Behind him were some young experts of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. They entered the sunny bamboo chamber of commerce directly. They were not affected by the conflict with Yao Qian just now. They were still quite realistic. Abandoning this auction brought no interest. Even the sunny bamboo chamber of commerce people did not refuse the entry of Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's experts because of the previous incident. It was as though the previous incident was just a dream, like it did not exist. After these Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts entered, other experts, including Bai Chun, also went in. "Brother Yi, are you all right?" Wang Mingyu asked. "I'm fine." Yi Shiwen shook his head and smiled. For ordinary people, the pressure coming from spiritual senses just now was enough to leave him with indelible flaws in his mind. However, it was not an issue for Yi Shiwen. "Let's head in too." And the Wang family experts nodded one after another and walked in with Yi Shiwen. When Yi Shiwen passed by Yao Qian, he took a step forward. "Thank you, Muse Yao, for saving my life." "No thanks. I'm not doing it for you," Yao Qian just said plainly without much change in expression. Chapter 863. Wood-burning saber technique. Yi Shiwen didn't say much and walked straight in. Although he was a little baffled, he thought it made sense. If Yao Qian went against the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's members for him, it would be unreasonable. "We don't know each other. I'm not an idol that can make her fall in love at first sight." Yi Shiwen and the Wang family entered the sunny bamboo auction house. Wang Mingjia's voice suddenly came from his back. "I heard that Muse Yao likes the unparalleled sword." With just this sentence, it became as clear as day. Yi Shiwen came into realization. In this case, there was involvement with somebody connected. Unparalleled sword protected Yi Shiwen with reason unbeknownst to Yao Qian, thus giving her the motive to help Yi Shiwen. But this series of events made Yi Shiwen feel a bit resigned, a deep sense of powerlessness. Crown Prince Crocodile suspected that he was related to Yi Xiangshan's death. He just decided to kill Yi Shiwen without proper reason, just like trampling an ant to death. Crown Prince Crocodile might have killed someone innocent. It was even possible that he found Yi Shiwen unpleasant to the eyes. He would kill anyone with just having a doubt. As for the unparalleled sword, his rescue of Yi Shiwen didn't have a concrete reason. He might only see Yi Shiwen pleasing to the eye, or Crown Prince Crocodile not pleasing to the eyes. Yao Qian also helped him just because of the unparalleled sword. All of these make Yi Shiwen feel unreal. In this world, perhaps it was not as simple as what he thought. Some people would do things without reason. At the same time, killing him didn't need a reason at all. Maybe they also had their own rules, but he was not within the bounds of those rules. This feeling made him uncomfortable and uneasy. At the center of the universe, the ancient Baron's continent was beyond him. With only a slight presence, many people could kill as they wish without considering the consequences. Yi Shiwen clenched his fist secretly. He didn't want something like this to happen again. He wanted to become stronger as soon as possible. Initially, in the true martial domain, Yi Shiwen had reached the peak. He was unrivaled. This situation encouraged his slacking attitude, but now he felt a sense of crisis. In this world, there were too many people who could easily kill him without a proper reason. In true martial school, those who deemed Yi Shiwen not pleasing to the eye would still need to find a reason to harm Yi Shiwen due to other seniors' presence in the sect. There was no such leniency here. No reasons were needed. This was a lawless place for the weak. Their deaths were without reason. However, with the Crown Prince Crocodile's sudden move, he became the target of many people's attention, especially some people who also knew the existence of the Wang family. They grew even more curious. How could this half-step transcendent realm expert lead the younger generation masters of the Wang family? Yi Shiwen didn't care about these at this time. This crisis grew more serious. Crown Prince Crocodile might come back at any time. He might face the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's pursuit at any moment. If it was just the pursuit of transcendent realm masters, Yi Shiwen didn't care even if it was top experts like Crown Prince Crocodile. He had a way to get away safely. However, if the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan had masters who surpassed transcendent realm-taking actions, Yi Shiwen would be in danger. This is troublesome. Even though the probability of Yi Xiangtian alarming their seniors is minute, it is still a possible scenario. "Sir, Our Lady has prepared a private room for you." When Yi Shiwen was about to sit down at the public's place, a waiter stepped forward and said. Yi Shiwen was a little surprised. Generally speaking, the private rooms of these auctions must be booked in advance. The Wang family could reserve them, but it needed to be in advance. Having a private room in this unexpected auction, to a large extent, depended on one's connections. Yi Shiwen didn't shirk away. He immediately took the Wang family and followed this waiter into a private room. In the spacious private room, it was well lit. A completely different setting from the noisy environment below, which was somewhat elegant and noble. Everyone quieted down and waited quietly for the auction to begin. Yi Shiwen also sat cross-legged and entered the state of cultivation. Everyone in the Wang family seemed grateful for Yi Shiwen. Although they didn't understand why Yi Shiwen was strong, even if he was just a half-step transcendent realm, they seemed to figure out something after witnessing his mannerism. Even if you are a genius, you have to work harder than others to get the results you want. Especially Wang Feiyun, who was convinced at this time. Initially, he was only convinced by Yi Ziwen's strength, but now he had full respect for Yi Shiwen. He knew he had no way to cultivate like Yi Shiwen. It seemed like a monk life. Yi Shiwen immersed his heart and soul into Tianyuan Mirror. In that bloody world, Yemo sat on a high platform, like the world's deity. The dragon vein and emergence immortal exterminating saber were situated in the distance. They were all firmly locked by the spiritual chains and couldn't move at all. When can I conquer the emergence immortal exterminating saber? Yi Shiwen asked. If I face the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan in the future, then it is likely that I need to use the emergence immortal exterminating saber again. Yi Shiwen knew very well that there was a big gap between him and the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan. If necessary, he had to wield the emergence immortal exterminating saber. It's still far away. There is no way to tame it unless you are stronger or the weapon is sealed. With that, it can only serve as a general divine weapon, Yemo replied. Yi Shiwen had a slight headache. There was no way around it. In any case, improving his strength and entering the transcendent realm was the only way. Almost half an hour later, this abrupt auction began, amidst the expectations of everyone. Dang! The gong's sound echoed the entire auction. The initial noisy venue quieted down. Soon, Yao Qian stepped lightly into the center and immediately became the focus of everyone's attention. Is Mu Xiao hosting this auction? That's great. It will be a feast for our eyes. Yes, over the years, as Mu Xiao's position in the Chamber of Commerce became higher and higher, the auctions she presided over have also decreased, which is a shame. It can also be seen that Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce attaches great importance to this auction. In other words, Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce attaches great importance to the opening of Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion this time. Have you seen the conflict at the door just now? Yao Muse is brave and heroic. If you can marry her, you're blessed in this life. How could it be possible to marry her? Didn't everyone say that she likes the unparalleled sword? How can you be compared with the unparalleled sword? He is almost unrivaled among the younger generation of experts in the entire flourished Cloud Sea region. Merely 5 people have chances against him. Even many masters of the older generation are respectful towards him. Although the venue became quiet, there were many whispers. Today, I am glad that everyone can join us in this abrupt auction. Regarding the content of this auction, everyone should already hear something about it. Without further ado, let's start. Yao Qian took a casual approach without too much lengthy content, knowing what everyone wanted. She just went straight to the point, and went for the main theme. The first item to be auctioned is a saber technique. Following Yao Qian's words, the waiter brought up a tray with a red brocade covering it, and placed it on the table. Yao Qian took away the red brocade. A fiery red jade slip was in plain sight. No one knew what the jade quality was. Many people sense an active fire chi looming around the jade. This saber technique is a slightly incomplete advanced human-level saber technique named wood-burning saber technique. It was discovered near Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion. Although it is a bit incomplete, our Chamber of Commerce experts have appraised it. Even if it is incomplete, it is standing at the intermediate human level now. At the end of cultivating the technique, one can rain hell on earth. Yao Qian spoke plainly. There was no overly sensational description. It was in the intermediate human level during its complete state, and advanced human level in its final form. This was enough to attract the attention of countless people. As a matter of fact, many experts who had surpassed the transcendent realm were still using the martial techniques of elite human level. For ordinary people, the advanced human level martial technique was enough to be the garrison martial technique of a force. If this were a complete advanced human level martial technique, the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce would be tempted to acquire it, let alone put it out for auction. This would be merely impossible. Unexpectedly, the first item turned out to be an intermediate human level martial technique. This time, the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce put up an exceptional prize. It's not so much about the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce putting up an exceptional prize. It's more accurate to say that they are trying to deal with the fruitful harvest from the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion opening. Many people got excited just hearing Yao Qian's introduction. Since it is only an incomplete martial technique, the starting price of this wood-burning saber technique is only 5 million spirit crystals. Now let the bidding start. Chapter 864. Acquiring saber technique. Since it was an incomplete martial technique, the starting price was not high. However, an average intermediate human level martial technique would be around 8 to 10 million spirit crystals. Of course, this kind of incomplete martial techniques could not be compared with the complete martial techniques. In fact, the price of such incomplete martial techniques was generally lower than that of the complete martial techniques. After all, no one knew the final result of cultivating an incomplete martial technique. Most of these techniques had indescribable ramifications. Although the effect of cultivation could be better than the general martial arts at intermediate human level, it might induce internal injury. For many people, this uncertainty directly led to the low price of such incomplete martial techniques. However, even though there might be hidden dangers, the starting price of 5 million spirit crystal was still attractive to a big crowd. Among them was Yi Shiwen. When he heard wood-burning saber technique, Yi Ziwen's eyes suddenly brightened. He had a great weapon-like emergence immortal exterminating saber in his hand. Even if he couldn't wield it completely, the power output was enormous. It was just that Yi Shiwen did not have a powerful saber technique. If it was just an average saber technique, he could utilize the mysterious space to deduce more saber techniques by himself. However, for saber techniques that were not classified in the chart, the result of deducing it via mysterious space would be stuck at the upper limit of elementary human level. Such martial techniques had minimal impact on Yi Ziwen's hand. He had been looking for an optimum saber technique. This wood-burning saber technique was tailor-made for him. For others, the saber technique might have a big flaw, but it possessed no big deal for Yi Shiwen. With mysterious space, even if there was a flaw, Yi Shiwen could deduce it to perfection. If it were a complete advanced human-level martial technique, 10 million spirit crystals would not be enough to purchase it. By then, the price might directly rise to more than 50 million. It would be challenging to purchase, even with Yi Ziwen's net worth. 5,500,000. As soon as Yao Qian's voice fell, someone immediately quoted a higher price, which directly raised the price by 500,000 spirit crystals. However, no one in the other private room spoke. Even though wood-burning saber technique was great, it was only intermediate human level due to it being incomplete. It was not practical for many individual cultivators, lone wolf, and even ordinary disciples in a sect despite its outstanding nature. Most of them had even cultivated advanced human level or elite human level martial techniques. Hence, those people did not bother with this intermediate human level martial technique. 6 million. It was Wang Mingyu next to Yi Shiwen. She couldn't help it after seeing such a martial technique. Although it was only at the level of intermediate human level, it was worthy of being garrison martial technique for their Wang family. 630 million. Someone soon made a new call. Apparently, many wealthy individual cultivators had taken a fancy to this wood-burning saber technique. 6,400,000. 6,500,000. 7 million. Soon the price had shot up to 7 million. A big crowd decided to give up. If it was a genuine intermediate human-level martial arts, it could go up to 8 million, or even 10 million. Many people hesitated with its incomplete nature. This martial technique might have had the power to surpass intermediate human level, but it might also leave behind any fatal flaws. These were hard to predict. It depended on their willingness to gamble. The proud child of the prominent sect would not mind spending some spirit crystals to gamble. For lone wolves and individual cultivators, their cultivation path was challenging, let alone building wealth. They did not want to lose everything they earned with blood and sweat. After hiking up to 7 million, there were a lot fewer people showing signs of interest. 7,300,000. Wang Mingyu gritted her teeth and said. She was also a little nervous. If it exceeded this number, she would not continue to bid. After all, she was not Yi Shiwen, who regarded spending tens of millions of spirit crystals not a big deal. The average Transcendent Realm 5th level expert had at most 10 million spirit crystals. Only Transcendent Realm Elite, and those surpassing the Transcendent Realm, could spend spirit crystals in quantity more than 10 million. She could bid 7,300,000 with the help of her family, sponsoring 5 million spirit crystals before coming here. Otherwise, she would not even be able to bid this number. Although young experts emerged quickly, their foundations were less reliable than those of the old experts. For example, for those with similar cultivation to Wang Mingyu but were several thousand years old, their net worth would probably be sixfold. No matter wealth, knowledge, or cultivation, it required time to build up. 7,050,000. Soon, someone made another bid and immediately overwhelmed Wang Mingyi's offer. Wang Mingyu couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. It was rare to see such martial techniques. Although the wood-burning saber technique was less effective in the Endless Sea region due to its fire attributes, it was still an intermediate human-level martial technique. In typical auctions, this martial technique would be the climax. In this world, martial arts was often more valuable than a piece of martial instrument. Martial instruments could only be used by one person at most, but martial arts could be used for a lineage. For a sect, the most important thing was to have a garrison martial technique. Therefore, many people would not easily put it out for auction because it had not much benefit unless they couldn't cultivate it. They would choose to put it out for auction, resulting in fewer martial techniques available in the auction. 9 million. Right after Wang Mingyi's disappointment, Yi Shiwen suddenly spoke. His words deterred the audience. The price of 9 million was adequate to buy an ordinary intermediate human-level martial technique. The audience was shocked at such a hefty price to purchase a martial technique, bearing unknown results. However, after Yi Shiwen called 9 million, no one continued to compete with Yi Shiwen. 9 million was no longer a small amount, but Yi Shiwen didn't care. For the others, it could be their entire net worth. This wood-burning saber technique quickly fell into the hands of Yi Shiwen. A staff member sent it to Yi Ziwen's hand in the private room. Yi Shiwen also happily paid 9 million spirit crystals and took the wood-burning saber technique. Even so, he still had more than 60 million spirit crystals and a dragon vein in his hand. The Wang family on the side looked at Yi Shiwen in a daze. They found it simply inexplicable. They couldn't believe that Yi Shiwen could have so many spirit crystals. 9 million spirit crystals. Even a veteran Transcendent Realm expert might not necessarily have it. This was equivalent to their net worth. Yi Shiwen was a half-step Transcendent Realm who accumulated much wealth. What is the origin of this man? Initially, they were just a little curious about Yi Ziwen's identity. After all, Wang Mingyu invited Yi Shiwen as a guest to help their Wang family win the contest. However, even Wang Mingyu did not know his origin. At this time, seeing him spent a lot of money boldly, it made people more curious about his identity. Especially for Wang Mingyu. When Yi Shiwen first appeared, he claimed that he came from the ancient Barrens continent, but not from this Endless Sea region. A series of events later seemed to prove that Yi Shiwen was indeed not a person who originated from this Endless Sea region. Yi Ziwen's origins might indeed be ancient Barrens. That was a place filled with monstrous genius out of their par. Could Yi Shiwen from a behemoth sect? There was only this possibility. Since talents could be inborn, but wealth didn't drop from the sky. Without the support of the behemoth behind it, even a monstrous genius would not have too much wealth. But seeing that he took out 9 million spirit crystals without batting an eye, it was not Yi Zaiwen's limit. Suddenly, the Wang family became curious. Though they would not ask so blatantly. Everyone had their secrets, and some questions were better not asked. Yi Shiwen received the jade slip containing wood-burning saber technique. He didn't care less about what others were thinking. Spirit crystals were a strategic resource. However, Yi Shiwen utilized the mysterious space in his cultivation path, utterly different from the norm. For him, the use of those spiritual stones and elixir had a different definition and context. To reach what he had achieved today, he had spent tenfolds of wealth compared to others. Without the support of the mysterious space, Yi Zaiwen's cultivation would not improve so quickly. After such a long time, he had already understood that the glamour of wealth was superficial. Strength and rapid improvement were more practical. If he were killed, having a gold mine was simply giving his enemy more rewards. Even if he only had 10 million spirit crystals, as long as he considered it useful, he dared to spend 9 million to buy it. This was the most significant difference between Yi Shiwen and others. Since Yi Shiwen had no backers, all his resources and wealth were invested in self-improvement. Chapter 865. Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion Map. This was his advantage. He did not need to concern himself with petty matters. Yi Shiwen would spend his wealth as long as he could improve his strength. For example, his decision to buy Tyrant Body Scripture in the past. He spent everything he had at that time. Tyrant Body Scripture was vital to Yi Shiwen. Without Tyrant Body Scripture, he would have died long ago. Yi Shiwen directly immersed himself in the jade slip and studied the wood-burning saber technique. This saber technique seemed challenging to cultivate. He needed to go through 3 steps: foundation building, chi refinement, and saber manifestation. Each was essential. It would enable him to grasp the 5 elements in one hand. He would be able to manifest a burning saber with fire chi. The 5 elements principles, interpromoting and interregulating, would apply in the range of 30 meters to 50 meters. Yi Shiwen would be peerless with no one capable of stopping him. It surprised Yi Shiwen. Initially, he thought it was a martial technique with pure fire attributes. A thorough investigation made him realize the martial technique was more than that. It was a martial technique cultivated based on the 5 elements. Interpromoting principle. This was a bit of a surprise. As a matter of fact, it was not easy for a martial technique to achieve the 5 elements. Interpromoting principle. But it also made Yi Shiwen pleasantly surprised. Initially, he thought this martial technique of fire attribute would undoubtedly be suppressed in this endless sea region. However, it was not. According to the 5 elements principle, water breeds wood while wood breeds fire. In this endless sea region, it would not hinder the wood-burning saber technique, but amplify it. Of course, the premise was that Yi Shiwen had to cultivate the 5 elements principle. Interpromoting. This could be achieved when Yi Shiwen cultivated wood-burning saber technique to its peak. At that time, the technique would not be inhibited by mere environment settings. However, ordinary people couldn't cultivate to such a level. Although the average person's 5 elements were roughly balanced, almost no one could achieve the 5 elements' absolute balance. Due to that, they often classified themselves with different attributes. However, it did not mean that they were in a null state in other elements they were not classified. Relatively speaking, that specific element among the 5 tend to be more active, making it more suitable to cultivate martial techniques. Since it was unbalanced, it was naturally impossible to achieve interpromoting and interregulating. The output, in the end, would be significantly reduced, but it could still retain its original might above the sea region. But for Yi Shiwen, this was not a problem. When Star Beast Avatar was overcoming the 5 elements lightning retribution previously, the balance between 5 elements was established in the body. With Yi Shiwen absorbing the bloodline power and vital energy of Star Beast Avatar, he would be able to achieve it too. Even water vapor could be transformed into wood power and later on morphed into fire energy. With his unique physique, this wood-burning saber technique grew even more powerful. However, no matter how great wood-burning saber technique was, Yi Shiwen had to wait until the end of this auction before cultivating it. Under the stimulation of the human-level martial technique auctioned, it shaped the entire auction's spirited atmosphere. Everyone began to look forward to it. Although there were no more remarkable martial techniques like the wood-burning saber technique, many items, herbs, martial instruments, and the like were auctioned at a high price. Wang Mingyu also spent 1 million auctioning a herbal medicine that could nurture her cultivation. After Yi Shiwen got the wood-burning saber technique, he didn't participate in the auction anymore. Most people probably thought he was penniless. After all, the 9 million just now surprised many individual cultivators. But only he knew whether he was penniless or not. Moreover, he was waiting for what he wanted to appear. He wanted the sea region map of the entire Flourish Cloud Sea region. He didn't know if this item would be auctioned. If not, he would head to the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce and ask if there was any sea region map in the Flourish Cloud Sea region. Cruising in this boundless sea region without a sea region map was like a blind man. However, after waiting for several batches, the sea region map still yet to appear. However, something else good appeared. This map encompasses the Holy Realm Dwellers' mansion's surroundings. When we got it, it's a little incomplete, but many locations outside Holy Realm Dwellers' mansion are marked, said Yao Qian slowly. Suddenly, everyone swallowed and looked up. This sea region map was much more attractive than anything else to these warriors. The fundamental reason was that a thorough understanding of Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion was essential to ensure good harvests during Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion opening this time. However, rumors said the Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion was a cave mansion of Holy Realm Dwellers many years ago. It could be considered ancient. Having a map on hand would bear good results for sure. However, we do consider everyone's needs. Hence, we have made 10 copies of this map. We will sell them one by one, each with a price of 10 million crystals, said Yao Qian. Everyone was a little displeased. They naturally knew that once the starting price was set at 10 million spirit crystals, it became the arena exclusive for wealthy giants. They wouldn't have a share of it. With no surprises, this map would not be circulated around. After all, everyone wanted to reduce competitors. Although these individual cultivators were not very strong, they could still threaten these giants if their numbers were large enough. So the probability of them teaming up was high. Those who could obtain it were also readying up to win this map. 1.5 million. Yi Shiwen immediately called as soon as Yao Qian stopped. Suddenly it attracted the attention of many people. When many people heard Yi Ziwen's voice, they had already guessed it. It should be Yi Shiwen. Although Yi Shiwen had become the limelight, there were not many people batting an eye on Yi Shiwen. Besides, Yi Shiwen had already spent 9 million previously and bought the wood-burning saber technique. It appeared to many people that he would not have too many spirit crystals remaining. Even many people prospected that Yi Shiwen would not have much remained after buying wood-burning saber technique. To everyone's surprise, he would be the first to bid for the map. No way. He isn't a simpleton. Does he have a net worth of more than 20 million? Someone said in disbelief. If it was just a Transcendent Realm veteran, it was not surprising to have such a net worth. However, Yi Shiwen was just a mere half-step Transcendent Realm. How could he have so many spirit crystals? This had already exceeded their imagination. Also, Yi Shiwen was not turned into an idiot by Crown Prince Crocodile previously. Many people dwelled in deep thoughts. Is there something other people don't know about Yi Shiwen? Could it be that the death of Yi Xiangtian has to do with him? When thinking of this, many people were stunned. Before that, almost no one thought Yi Xiangshan's death had something to do with Yi Shiwen. At best, he might know who did it. After all, Yi Xiangtian was also a Transcendent Realm veteran. Since he was a profiteer, everyone heard of him. Not many people would believe that a half-step Transcendent Realm kid could kill him. But now it was different. Yi Shiwen easily took out a net worth of 20 million, which was unusual for a half-step Transcendent Realm expert. This Yi Shiwen was not an ordinary half-step Transcendent Realm expert, which piqued others' interest. Especially those vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan experts. Their complexion appeared a little bit livid. They had enough reason to have a suspicion on Yi Shiwen. He did not turn retard under Crown Prince Crocodile's hand. Moreover, he did not beg for mercy or plead his innocence. This was suspicious. Of course, they probably wouldn't have thought that even if Yi Shiwen said he was not the murderer, they would not let Yi Shiwen go. That was the very reason why Yi Shiwen didn't say anything. In reality, it made no difference as well, so Yi Shiwen didn't try to explain it. This kid is fishy, said Ying coldly. Then Yi Xiangshan's death must be connected to him. We need to send someone to investigate him. We can't let him run away. Crown Prince Crocodile hasn't come back. We can't act rashly here. Once this kid leaves Sunny Bamboo Island, we need to make him pay. He defies my wishes. He will suffer a terrible death. Yes. Many Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts nodded and said, Bai Chun, you should monitor him. Your Jade Shadow Sea Snake Clan is the best at tracking, right? Ying commanded. Got it. 11 million. 11,500,000. 12 million. The price of the first sea region map rose wildly with an impressive number. 15 million. Yi Shiwen shouted directly. The shocking price immediately stunned everyone, and many people were flabbergasted. Yi Shiwen seemed to intimidate his competitors, and no higher price was called. The first map finally fell into Yi Xiwen's hands as he wished. Almost immediately, a waiter brought the item into Yi Xiwen's private room. Chapter 866. Retribution. Yi Shiwen smiled and accepted the map. Then, he happily handed over 15 million spirit crystals. Everyone in the Wang family on the side looked silly. No one thought that Yi Shiwen was a money tyrant. This is the money tyrant. A superb tyrant that is beyond our Wang family master. We can't spend 20 million spirit crystals without batting an eye. Most importantly, it wasn't Yi Xiwen's bottom line yet. He didn't seem to have any bottom line at all. No matter how many spirit crystals it was, he could withdraw it, unfazed. A tyrant who threw money like dirt. Many warriors coveted Yi Shiwen and wanted to rob him clean later on. After all, compared to those giants, Yi Shiwen was not only weak, but most importantly, he had enough wealth to make everyone jealous. However, everyone in the Wang family was quite pleased. After all, the map was not only useful to Yi Shiwen, but it gave benefits to them. After all, the Wang family would go along with Yi Shiwen. Wang Mingyu looked at Yi Shiwen and said nothing in the end. She would never get to see the bottom line of this man. Every time she felt Yi Shiwen was at his limit, he would be able to resolve it easily. It was like Doraemon's pocket one. She would never have a way to guess what was the next thing awaiting. Yi Shiwen was still immersed in joy. He didn't realize what everyone was thinking. Even if he was taken as a fool, he was not displeased at all. Those who take him as a fool would deeply regret it later on. The wood-burning saber technique cost 9 million spirit crystals. After completing it via the mysterious space, its value would soar more than 50 million. Although the process would consume a lot of spirit crystals, it was still worth the value. Those who thought Yi Shiwen had suffered a significant loss would not know that. In actual fact, this was a worthwhile investment. During ordinary times, it would be impossible to purchase an advanced human-level martial technique. Even if it were available for sales, the price would bring Yi Shiwen into bankruptcy. Yi Shiwen was quite satisfied with buying it at the price 1/5 of its actual value. On that sea region map, Yi Shiwen directly called 15 million yuan, which seemed to be a stupid approach. After all, the bidding price was only 12 million at the time. After all, spirit crystals don't drop from the sky. But in fact, for Yi Shiwen, he felt it was a wise move. The auction for the first map would be less competitive. For those who were interested in maps, there were 9 more of them. Therefore, the farther the auction progressed, the higher the price would be. Bidding it by that time not only took time and effort, but the price would soar to an incredible height. Sure enough, as Yi Shiwen had imagined, the second copy's price competition became more intense after Yi Shiwen took the first map. Although no one spent a lot of money like Yi Shiwen, the second copy's price was higher than the first map by 1 million. It reached 16 million, and fell into the hands of the Scarlet Thunder Gang. It was Scarlet Thunder Immortal that joined the bid. However, the price of the third and fourth shares did not drop. Instead, They were bought at the price of 18 million and 19 million. The fifth copy afterward soared to 2 million. The prices of the next few copies kept hitting new heights. The last one was at the highest price, reaching 26 million, 11 million higher than Yi Ziwen's copy. Many people could not help but admire Yi Shiwen. Before that, many people laughed at Yi Shiwen secretly, thinking that he was a fool. What happened in reality was a slap. Yi Shiwen was not a fool, but the one got the most advantage, acquiring the map at the lowest price. On the other hand, Yi Shiwen admired the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce's plan. Since it was divided into 10 copies, each copy's price was reduced by a significant margin. However, the profit added up to more than 200 million spirit crystals. Their gain went further than the price of a single sale. Moreover, many forces have gotten the maps they want. The Chamber of Commerce did not offend them. As for those individual cultivators, they would less likely put their blame on the Sunny Bamboo Chamber of Commerce. It was a brilliant plan. But then, Yi Shiwen did not see anything else that would excite him. Although there was also a great martial instrument, he couldn't be interested in it. Ying bid it at the price of 25 million spirit crystals. The auction ended very soon. There was nothing that attracted Yi Shiwen. It was true as the rumors said. The Chamber of Commerce auctioned items found in Immortal's mansion. They were items that individual cultivators or lone warriors obtained in Immortal's mansion while they didn't need them. Apart from a few items, there was nothing excellent and eye-catching for Yi Shiwen. After all, if there were great things, they would have kept them. Even that was the case, Yi Shiwen had received a wood-burning saber technique and a map. After leaving the auction room, Yi Shiwen separated from the Wang family. First, it was because the auction was over. But the opening of the Immortal's mansion would take some time. Yi Shiwen could only wait. On the other hand, he had some private matters. The Wang family could not follow Yi Shiwen all the time. Again, it was because Yi Shiwen noticed that a lot of eyes were on him. Yi Shiwen, there are a lot of eyes on you. You have to be careful, said Yimo. Yi Shiwen nodded. Initially, only Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's members were watching him. His spending at the auction attracted many people coveting him. To them, killing Yi Shiwen was no doubt an opportunity to get rich overnight. If Yi Shiwen were a disciple of a powerful force, they would forget it. Contrary to that, Yi Shiwen was a lone wolf without much influence. It was akin to a kid walking around the streets with gold bars in his hand. This was the best target. Many people had bad intentions. Yi Shiwen could sense it too. Yi Shiwen just sneered. If they think him a weakling, then they are wrong. That will delay your progress. You should improve your cultivation as soon as possible instead of hunting them down. After attaining Transcendent Realm 1st level, you can even defeat Transcendent Realm 4th level warriors. Those who covet you are courting death. Sneered Yimo. Yi Shiwen nodded. This was indeed the case. It didn't matter what the others thought. Great strength defeats all conspiracies. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen separated from the Wang family directly, and made an appointment with them. If Immortal's mansion had opened and he had not returned, then they should head into Immortal's mansion first, and wait until he returned. When Yi Shiwen re-encountered them, they would naturally party up. Everyone in the Wang family was a little depressed about this. After all, without Yi Shiwen, their safety would undoubtedly diminish a lot. There was no other way. Evidently, Yi Shiwen had other matters to deal with. Wang Mingjia's words made them have nothing to say. No matter how strong Brother Yi is, it has nothing to do with us. After all, we are separate entities. Everyone in the Wang family finally woke up. In any case, there was a gap between Yi Shiwen and the Wang family. If the Wang family wanted to cultivate and grow, they had to rely on themselves. But Yi Shiwen also promised to come back as soon as possible, if he could still catch up by that time. After parting from the Wang family, Yi Shiwen went straight out of the city and cruised the sea. At this time, he could feel that there were more than a dozen figures directly chasing up. Although they were from different directions, Yi Shiwen could be sure that these people tailed him for a long time. Among them were people Yi Shiwen familiar with, Bai Chen from Jade Shadow Sea Snake Clan, an elder from Scarlet Thunder Gang, etc. These were all Transcendent Realm 4th level experts and 5th level experts. Yi Shiwen was amused with the fact that these figures were utilized to deal with a half-step transcendent realm. When did I, the little half-step transcendent realm warrior, intimidate so many others? It could be related to my actions at the auction. But Yi Shiwen had no time to continue to entangle with them now. The storm wings behind him unfolded instantly. His figure turned into a stream of light, flying towards the depths of the sea. After spreading the demon wings, Yi Shiwen's speed accelerated again. It was so fast that it appeared like teleportation. The golden cluster of light was constantly flickering, appearing in a distant place in each flicker. Those tailing Yi Shiwen were utterly dumbfounded, staring blankly at Yi Shiwen. They had lost his trace. They didn't expect that Yi Shiwen could accelerate in this manner. Chapter 867. Tyrant Body Scripture Great Mastery. This brat is weird. You have to report to the Crown Prince. We need to mobilize our forces. We must not let him go, said Bai Chun with a stern face. Previously, the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan only suspected that Yi Shiwen might be related to Yi Xiangshan's death. Right now, they were almost certain that Yi Shiwen must be related to Yi Xiangshan's death. Even Bai Chun felt strongly about it too. This was the only explanation. Despite it being a guess, it was enough reason for them to act. Was there a need for evidence? This was a lawless place. After putting Yi Shiwen as a high-priority target, even if Yi Shiwen were not the culprit, they would still make it seem so. For them, it was nothing more than taking the life of a peculiar human brat. Nothing big at all. It befitted their so-called doctrine. They would rather burn the whole village down, rather than letting go of the enemy. Since Yi Shiwen had this suspicion, then he was already considered dead. Brat, you're courting death. You dare to offend the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. It doesn't matter anymore whether you are the culprit or not. Most importantly, if you dare to surface from cowering in the dark, death awaits you. Bai Chun could only return without success. He noticed Yi Shiwen's speed did not stop accelerating. It had exceeded the range he could perceive. However, since he had spread the news, the entire Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan in the sea region would soon be mobilized. As one of the 3 overlords of the entire flourished Cloud Sea region, once the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan was fully mobilized, it would be a shocking scene. This matter did not just end with escaping from Bai Chun's pursuit. There were still many people who were as depressed as Bai Chun. They all went to hunt Yi Shiwen with different goals, but they failed in the end. They had to come back dejectedly. If they continued the chase, it would be fruitless. After all, they did not know where Yi Shiwen went. The Scarlet Thunder Gang's elder was confused. How can a half-step transcendent realm brat achieve such a feat? Did our young leader predict correctly? Something is amiss in the entire matter. Yi Shiwen accelerated his speed, turning into a stream of light in the sky. Soon he had flown out for millions of miles. After completely throwing those people away, he was finally relieved. If the enemy set an ambush when he was challenging the tribulation, it would pose great danger. Heaven's retribution should not be underestimated. The enemy's presence might raise the difficulty, making lightning retribution even scarier. Worse still, it was still possible for true elites to deal with the retributions while launching offense to Yi Shiwen. They could contend Heaven's retribution with martial instruments, giving them chances to kill Yi Shiwen. If their cultivation surpassed Yi Shiwen a lot, killing Yi Shiwen would be a piece of cake. Yi Shiwen came to a vast sea region. It was cloudless with conducive wind speed. He took a deep breath and stopped suppressing the active auras in his body. The auras belonging to half-step transcendent realm late peak instantly dispersed. The reaction took place like a hornet's nest getting stabbed. The heavens might flitted in an instant. Above the cloudless blue sky, dark clouds began to gather with storms brewing within. The lightning wreaked havoc in the clouds. It quickly condensed over Yi Shiwen. The mighty heavens might spread across a radius of hundreds of miles. Immediately, many sea creatures fled. No matter whether they were beasts with or without intelligence, they could feel the mighty heavens might at this moment. Those who were still quite bestial fled even faster. They might not know the reason, but they reacted quickly by instinct. In an instant, There were no beasts nor creatures in Yi Shiwen's surrounding. The vibrant place became dead silent. Yi Shiwen took a deep breath. When the Star Beast avatar passed the Transcendent Realm Retribution, it was already so terrifying. What's more, he was going through it with his main body, which he believed to be way more robust than his avatar. 1. Voila! In just a moment. At the moment he started to act, countless lightning fell from the sky. The entire sea region turned into a lightning sea. The terrifying heavens might manifested vividly. Everything was transformed into nothingness in this lightning sea, being eradicated completely. Followed by a heavy downpour, everything was submerged in this lightning sea. The surrounding seawater evaporated in great intensity. The seawater thinned down by a few layers, with the surrounding seawater frantically replenishing it. Each lightning strike bombarded Yi Shiwen would emitted strands of cyan smoke from his body. The cyan smoke had enveloped his entire body, making his figure indistinguishable. Any of these lightning could easily strike a half-step Transcendent Realm expert to death. But nothing happened in the face of Yi Ziwen's physique. The lightning seemed unable to break Yi Ziwen's defense at all. But Yi Shiwen knew that this was just the beginning. He activated Tyrant Body Scripture and continuously absorbed the energy imbued within the lightning. Yi Ziwen's Tyrant Body Scripture, which had been stagnant for a while, finally progressed. It was advancing slowly towards Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level, representing the Great Mastery level. In other words, Tyrant Body Scripture was approaching its peak. With Tyrant Body Scripture alone, he would not lose to other clans or races known for a superb physique like Dragon Clan and Titan Clan. As for the Tyrant Body Scripture 10th level, Yi Shiwen felt that his deduction progress would take a very long while. After attaining great perfection, his physical body would surpass Dragon Clan and Titan. Only a few of the royal bloodlines could compete with him. However, the difficulty of achieving that was unimaginable. Even Yi Shiwen had no confidence. It was likely that the Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level was the peak of his Tyrant Body Scripture. After all, physical cultivation was different from Power Realm cultivation. As long as you understand and become proficient, Power Realm cultivation would progress. However, physical training was completely different. It required continuous stimulation on the body. Even if you understand how to cultivate, you might not be able to succeed. This was why there were very few tyrannical physique experts. Once they emerged, they would inevitably be an unrivaled existence. Just like Yi Shiwen, it was difficult to meet a proper opponent at the same level because his physical body was strong. Yi Shiwen intended to cultivate Tyrant Body Scripture directly to the 9th level in one shot. If he could cultivate to the 9th level, it would be easier to challenge Heaven's Retribution. He had a hunch that this Heaven's Retribution would be challenging. The current appetizer was lightning that could easily strike a half-step Transcendent Realm late expert to death. Those with physical bodies weaker than Yi Shiwen would be smashed into pieces on the spot. Things had seemingly gone with Yi Ziwen's thoughts. Warcry echoed in the sky. The neatly arranged legion composed of heavenly lightning troops appeared unexpectedly in front of Yi Shiwen. Every heavenly lightning troop was at least at half-step Transcendent Realm late level. When these heavenly lightning troops all gathered together, they were enough to tremble the world and sweep any force. The legion was mingled with a large number of Transcendent Realm level experts. Such a terrifying legion occupied the sky. From a distance, it appeared like a yellow torrent, gushing out violently from the clouds. At the moment this heavenly lightning legion appeared, the lightning all over the sky disappeared. They all morphed into lightning weapons in 18 types too. It fell from the sky like rain. Yi Shiwen morphed a colossal hand into the sky. He grasped towards the weapons spewed in the sky, turning them into a mass of energy, and he quickly absorbed it. He could sense that once these violent energies entered the body, Tyrant Body Scripture would tame them into usable energy. These energies all surged into the mini-universe in his Dantian. He directly met the first requisite for Tyrant Body Scripture, ascending to the 9th level, without activating Observing Person Scripture. He knew very well that the Tyrant Body Scripture's ascension to the 9th level played a significant role in challenging Heaven's Retribution. Once he succeeds, his chances in challenging Heaven's Retribution would soar. Many lightning weapons spew in the sky. However, even if every weapon were bombarded on Yi Zaiwen's body, it would only produce metal clanging sounds and strands of cyan smoke. There was no way to inflict further damage to Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen absorbed the energy little by little. Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level. Yi Shiwen gave all he got to break through. He activated Tyrant Body Scripture to full potential. Since he was at the peak of Tyrant Body Scripture 8th level, he was approaching ascension already. Right now it was at the last gap to attain what he wanted. Just a little bit more to step into the Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level. Right now, Heaven's retribution provided Yi Shiwen the power to overcome the barrier to the next level. Crack. Amid lightning, Yi Zaiwen's bones were vibrating with his muscles morphing continuously, seemingly ascending in an extreme direction. Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level. Chapter 868. Transcendent Realm 1st level. Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level was the very definition of Tyrant Body Scripture's great mastery, signifying its peak state. As for the 10th level, that would be great perfection. It was the perfect state that was even more difficult to achieve. Shattered Star Fist. Yi Shiwen yelled. His fist suddenly blasted out the boundless star power, bombarding the heavenly lightning legion swooping toward him. Immediately, Yi Shiwen extracted the energy imbued within heavenly lightning troops. Boom, boom, boom. One after another, Yi Shiwen absorbed the energy imbued within the heavenly lightning troops as though they were Christmas gifts. Every time he killed a heavenly lightning troops, energies would pour into his body, nurturing the aura within. Even Tyrant Body Scripture 8th level had no way to assimilate the energies in time. The energy level reached a critical point. Boom. Yi Zaiwen's aura rose wildly. A domineering aura swept out in all directions. From a distance, it was like an ancient overlord resurrected. There was a mighty vigor on Yi Zaiwen's slightly thin body. After breaking through to the Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level, Yi Zaiwen's body seemed to have undergone earth-shaking changes. It had become more perfect and more powerful. A majestic force seemed to be contained in it. But at the same time, Yi Shiwen also felt an unprecedented emptiness. Tyrant Body Scripture had consumed all the energy in his body to break through into Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level. At this moment, he felt an unprecedented emptiness despite attaining Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level. Yi Shiwen immediately flew up to the clouds, rushed into the heavenly lightning legion, and continuously blasted them in the air. Many heavenly lightning troops were defeated. He absorbed the energy imbued within the heavenly lightning troops nonstop. Soon, the energy consumed by the Tyrant Body Scripture was replenished entirely. Roar. Yi Shiwen finally recovered to his peak, even more potent than his peak state previously. The body had undergone earth-shaking changes after attaining the Tyrant Body Scripture 9th level. Even if Yi Shiwen stopped blocking the attacks from these heavenly lightning troops, he would still be unharmed. Moreover, the Tyrant Body Scripture would be able to absorb the attacks thoroughly. Hence, he started to infiltrate the heavenly lightning legion without holding back. Each attack of his could defeat several heavenly lightning troops at once. This battle lasted for 3 days. It was a tragic battle for both sides. On the one hand, heavenly lightning troops had an overwhelming advantage in number. Under the bombardment from heavenly lightning troops, Yi Shiwen was like a fallen leaf swept wildly by the wind. But on the other hand, these heavenly lightning troops couldn't hurt Yi Shiwen at all. They were continuously beheaded and then converted into energy, making Yi Shiwen stronger. After Tyrant Body Scripture cultivated to 9th level and absorbed enough energy, Yi Shiwen began to cultivate Observing Person Scripture fanatically. The energies rushed into Danshan's inner palace at an intense rate. The mini-universe in Yi Shiwen Dantian was originally a Milky Way. Currently, it appeared as if it was growing into a nebula. Heaven's retribution was a huge opportunity. For 3 days, Yi Shiwen was fighting these heavenly lightning troops. Explosions sounded continuously in this sea region. Even those sea beasts that were not within the scope of the retribution cloud were shivering in fear, despite the distancing. Under this mighty heaven's might, these beasts could feel the terror within heaven's might more strongly than human beings. Yi Shiwen had wiped those heavenly lightning troops clean. And yet heaven's retribution cloud did not dissipate. On the contrary, it started to get thicker. Yi Shiwen sighed slightly. It all depended on the subsequent retribution to determine his success. Soon this retribution finally appeared. It was a heavenly lightning general who wielded a horizontal saber. A dangerous aura spread out from the heavenly lightning general. Yi Shiwen could feel an extremely dangerous aura from the heavenly lightning general. An aura that made people frightened. Nay, the heavenly lightning general readied his horse, as if he had come alive. He began to run rampant towards Yi Shiwen, stomping across the vast sky in gallops. He flickered in each gallop, crossing a distance every time as if he was teleporting. The general rushed to Yi Shiwen in a few flickers. It only took a blink of an eye. Yi Shiwen was shocked. The heavenly lightning general instantly slashed the long lightning saber towards Yi Shiwen, who had nothing in his hand. He directly condensed a long sword with his sword will and clashed with it. Boom! The clash from the two sides immediately caused the entire sky to tremble. Yi Shiwen immediately judged that this was a terrifying and robust opponent. If his tyrant body scripture did not break through to the 9th level, the clash would have obliterated him. Even so, Yi Shiwen still felt that his arms were slightly numb. It did not come from the impact, but the paralysis effect from the lightning. Yi Shiwen immediately counterattacked. The long sword in his hand instantly streaked across the vast sky and pierced into the body of the heavenly lightning general. But the heavenly lightning general ignored it and slashed his long saber again at Yi Shiwen. Yi Shiwen was surprised, and his figure instantly retreated. The long saber seemed to split the world open. Explosions could be heard from the spot where Yi Shiwen was previously at. Yi Shiwen had a solemn expression. This heavenly lightning general was immortal because it was composed of energy bodies. No damage could be done unto the heavenly lightning general. In other words, this was an opponent who was not afraid of death, which made it a scary one. After all, you could not kill it no matter what you do. This was the most critical element. The heavenly lightning general came with the will of the heaven way without any extra emotions, but just a fighting machine. In his mind, there was only the consciousness to fight and nothing else. Such a fighting machine was more terrifying than a composed Yi Shiwen. Such an opponent had almost no weaknesses. The heavenly lightning general was an enhanced heavenly lightning troop by many folds. His only weakness was the lack of physical body. This was his biggest weakness. Some people might pay attention to spiritual cultivation, while others might pay attention to other aspects of cultivation. However, no one dared to say that the physical body was not necessary. The cultivation path was like cruising through a vast sea filled with challenges. The physical body was the boat to cruise through the sea. Without the boat, if a person only depended on his swimming, that was no different to courting death. It was simply impossible. Thinking of this, Yi Shiwen had a golden divine light clad on his body, wrapping him up as if he was wearing golden clothing, like a battle god cast in gold. The long sword in his hand instantly became 10 times bigger, and it blasted towards the heavenly lightning general on the spot. Boom! The entire space seemed to have encountered some terrifying collision. With the collision point as the center, spherical energy instantly spread out in all directions. Yi Shiwen could see that the body of the heavenly lightning general had dissipated a little. Although he recovered shortly afterward, Yi Shiwen was overjoyed. He knew that he had indeed found the right direction. This heavenly lightning general had no physical body of its own. The so-called physical body was just the energy of lightning condensed together by the heaven way. So since the opponent was unkillable, he could use the most violent method to disperse the energy. As long as the power output was large enough, even the law could be dissipated. The bigger the power, the greater the law contained within. This fight involved contending against the invisible law. Boom, boom, boom. Since Yi Shiwen found a way to deal with his opponent, he changed his approach. He no longer relied on ambush but sheer close combat. Yi Shiwen slashed his long sword toward his opponent, non-stop. He utilized his energy to dissipate the opponent's body. Even if the opponent recovered quickly every time, Yi Shiwen could feel the law within dissipated bit by bit. After all, although heaven's retribution was horrifying, there were still chances to overcome it. They said man proposes, God disposes. But nothing would be absolute. Yi Shiwen had somehow found a way out of this. This was a battle against endurance. Boom. No one knew how long the battle lasted. Yi Shiwen slashed again with his sword and split the heavenly lightning general into half. The general failed to recover, but turned into a considerable energy body. Yi Shiwen grabbed this energy and absorbed it into his body. All of a sudden, he felt terrifying energy constantly running and circulating in his body. The realm barrier dissipated just like how the heavenly lightning general disappeared without a trace. His cultivation improved bit by bit smoothly. His vigor was soaring, getting stronger and stronger. Half-step transcendent realm peak. Boom! A majestic aura swept through his body, forming a column of air straight into the sky. Transcendent realm. At last, Yi Shiwen attained the transcendent realm. Yi Shiwen grasped a few times. The before and after of transcendent realm was a completely different concept. It was a life transformation, another level of life form compared to the half-step transcendent realm. He could feel the majestic energy in his body boiling. He could faintly feel the heaven way's existence right beside him. Chapter 869. Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion opens without ascending to the transcendent realm. It was absolutely difficult to experience such a feeling. If the ascension to Sage Realm and Great Sage Realm was a physical transformation, then the ascension to Transcendent Realm was a transformation both physically and spiritually. This kind of transformation gave Yi Shiwen the impulse to roar at the sky. This was a completely different feeling from the time when Star Beast Avatar entered the Transcendent Realm. The reason was that Star Beast itself was already a high level of life form. Hence, entering the Transcendent Realm only brought improvement of strength, not the change of life form level. Yi Shiwen's main body had ascended to the Transcendent Realm, which pushed him to become a higher level life form. For ordinary people, the life form level could only be regarded as average. Therefore, every time a warrior stepped into a new realm, the changes would be great. It would be a brand new feeling. This was the so-called using efforts to curb the inborn restriction. Changes oneself to make up for the congenital deficiencies. After passing heaven's retribution, Yi Shiwen finally breathed a sigh of relief. He prepared for this retribution for a long time. He had started the preparation ever since he was still in true martial domain. After several decades, he finally ascended to the Transcendent Realm. All his efforts gained the best return. The retribution is finally over. I should head back now, said Yi Shiwen. He was not sure whether the Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion had opened. Yi Shiwen did not hesitate. Taking advantage of heaven's retribution's remnants and the absence of sea creatures approaching him, he immediately flew towards Sunny Bamboo Island. When he returned to Sunny Bamboo Island, discussion of Holy Realm Dweller's cave mansion was everywhere at Sunny Bamboo Island, because the cave related to Holy Realm Dwellers was opened. Countless people were discussing this matter. Many warriors had already rushed to Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion and gained a lot of benefits. Unexpectedly, the Holy Realm Dweller's cave has opened just after a few days, sighed Yi Shiwen. After returning to the inn, he realized that everyone in the Wang family had already left and gone to the legendary Holy Realm Dweller's cave. In that case, Yi Shiwen didn't need to stay. After asking about the entire Holy Realm Dweller's cave location, Yi Shiwen immediately followed the flow of people and headed towards the cave. He just stepped into the Transcendent Realm. Hence, he could not control his strength entirely with auras leaking around him. Who is this person? How arrogant is he? He's just a Transcendent Realm. How dare he be so arrogant? Many people, who were spying on Yi Shiwen, had distanced themselves. They said indignantly, but they only talked about it mockingly like a joke. Soon, Yi Shiwen got so fast that they simply couldn't keep up. However, with Yi Shiwen's emergence, some ill-intentioned figures quickly followed. Brat! You have a map in hand. Yi Shiwen headed towards the Holy Realm Dweller's cave. Before reaching the Holy Realm Dweller's cave, he was stopped. He saw a group consisting of 30 warriors from various forces stopped him. The leader was an old man with a petite figure. He looked at Yi Shiwen maliciously and said, "Hand over the map, and we will spare you. Otherwise, since I have waited here for so many days, You will suffer a horrible death. Indeed. You're merely at half-step transcendent realm. How dare you compete for the map? You're courting death. Yes, quickly hand over the map and the wood-burning saber technique, including all your wealth. Otherwise, you will never get to leave this place in one piece today. Yeah, we will represent your elders to teach you a lesson. You need to know how to act in society. Don't be too high profile. As the old man spoke, many warriors in the back all spoke up. Even though they were all from different forces, they were all surprisingly united when facing Yi Shiwen. They urged Yi Shiwen to hand over his possession. As for how they would allocate it, it would be another matter later on. Yi Shiwen sneered. Do they think I am outmatched? An ordinary half-step transcendent realm warrior. Even if Yi Shiwen was just a half-step transcendent realm warrior, they couldn't afford to offend him, much less he had just stepped into the transcendent realm. Yi Shiwen clenched 5 of his fingers into a fist. Within a snap, a terrifying aura surged around him. Everyone's complexion changed suddenly. They didn't expect that Yi Shiwen would dare to resist at this time. It was simply an act of mocking them. If Yi Shiwen was a peerless genius, then they could forget it. To them, Yi Shiwen was just a half-step transcendent realm who were no different from ants. They thought they were kind for not killing him directly. Yi Shiwen was not grateful. The sin is simply unforgivable. This kid even dares to resist. It's simply unforgivable. Damn it, said the petite old man coldly. This kid has become a transcendent realm warrior in a few days. Does he think that he is unrivaled among transcendent realm experts? Ridiculous. If we don't teach him a lesson today, he doesn't know his boundary. Kill him. Don't talk nonsense with him. There is no point to spare his life. Isn't Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan looking for his whereabouts now? It just happens that we can take his head in exchange for rewards. Someone suggested. Yi Shiwen smiled faintly. You will regret it. Ah, do you hear that? This kid says I will regret it. What a joke. Do you know who we are? Why could we regret it? You're not worthy enough to make us regret it. At this time, a young man mocked. Despite looking young, his actual age should be more than that. Before he could finish his words, he pounced, making a sharp whistling sound in the sky. He appeared in front of Yi Shiwen in an instant, screaming with a grim expression on his face. Kid, I will let you know today that the strength you are proud of is just a joke. Do you think you are qualified to be equal to us by just stepping into the transcendent realm? His fist was wrapped in endless chi as it bombarded downward. It made people think that the entire world would be destroyed under the pressure of his fist. Yi Shiwen finally moved. He spread his palms directly, without any extra movement, and received the attack. Boom! There was a muffled sound accompanied by boundless energy that burst out instantly. Yi Shiwen's palm stopped the young man's fist. The punch could not advance even an inch. It was impossible to close in on Yi Shiwen. How is this possible? He widened his eyes and couldn't believe it. It was impossible. He had already entered the Transcendent Realm 3rd level. The kid in front of him had entered the Transcendent Realm just recently. How could this be possible? He was helpless in front of this kid. For him, this was totally unreasonable. On the contrary, it should be Yi Shiwen who was utterly helpless in front of him. But now, the situation was completely reversed. Everyone was completely stunned. For a while, the world turned extremely quiet, and only Yi Shiwen's faint voice was heard. I said it. You will regret it. As soon as Yi Shiwen's voice could be heard, Yi Shiwen tightened his grip. Crisp sounds of broken bones followed by. Yi Shiwen broke the young man's fist on the spot. Ah! The young man screamed madly as he retreated. Only fear could be seen in his eyes. He had never thought that things would develop into this situation. He was hardly Yi Shiwen's opponent at all. He could not even sustain an attack in the face of Yi Shiwen. He couldn't imagine the impossible to happen. But then he was even more horrified to discover that Yi Shiwen approached him almost immediately. He did not know when a long sword appeared in Yi Shiwen's hand. A gorgeous sword light was drawn across the sky. A bud of blood bloomed directly. There was a conspicuous cut on the young man's neck. Puff! Blood spurted out without an end. The young man's vitality was lost alongside the blood splashes. His body became cold at an unprecedented speed. It fell directly from the sky. You killed him? The leader couldn't take it. It was too inexplicable. Yi Shiwen dared to take the first blood and killed the young man. His heart tightened. Horror spread from his heart. It seemed to be unbelievable. Don't worry. You will accompany him soon. Yi Shiwen smiled faintly. He only felt that there was a force in his body that needed to be vented. It was bestial. Yi Shiwen was aware that the Star Beast's bloodline power affected him. Star Beast was a beast after all. Even if it was rational with intelligence, it did not make a difference. A bloodthirsty feeling was boiling within his blood. It was a feeling making Yi Shiwen unable to control himself. But this feeling was not bad. Yi Shiwen didn't want to resist it either. Are you crazy? You want to kill all of us? The old man was still in disbelief. Once others learn your stories, they will know you're a cruel maniac. If we don't unite to get rid of him, he will become a major problem in the world. Chapter 870. Is this still the power of Transcendent Realm First Level? Yi Shiwen laughed. These people had to find a justifiable reason for interception and killing. Compared with them, Unparalleled Sword and Crown Prince Crocodile were much better. That was the elite's attitude, truly unrestrained and fearless. They were indomitable. Everyone nodded and clamored to punish Yi Shiwen. At this time, they were flustered and scared. Initially, they thought that Yi Shiwen was just a half-step Transcendent Realm warrior. There was no big deal of robbing him. Unexpectedly, the situation had developed into this now. They failed their hunt. Worse still, they had become the prey. They could not accept this happening. Kill him, then all his wealth belongs to us, said the old man. The eyes of these warriors started to become slightly red. Some of them came for the map, some were here for wood-burning saber technique, and some went for the countless wealth Yi Shiwen possessed. No matter what their goal was, no one would be unwilling to get more wealth. Kill him. If it is not him who dies today, it will be us. Someone among them yelled out. These warriors with bloodshot eyes pounced towards Yi Shiwen. Yi Ziwen's attitude was evident. They had to kill Yi Shiwen no matter whether they sought his wealth or their life. The first to rush up was a pair of brothers who have the strength of Transcendent Realm second-level peak. The two joined forces. Even the typical Transcendent Realm third-level cultivation was not their opponent. Boy, we are glad to take care of your wealth for you. This pair of brothers joined forces, escalating their fist technique wildly. They immediately blocked all Yi Ziwen's retreat in good tacit understanding. Apparently, they had already joined forces to deal with many top experts before. A monstrous fist almost enveloped Yi Shiwen, making people feel like there was no way to escape. At this time Yi Shiwen finally moved. Yi Shiwen condensed a long sword with his sword swill, and pierced it forward. Puff! Sword will pierced into the fist in an instant. It was like a needle stuck into a balloon and instantly broke their fist. Immediately afterward, Yi Shiwen killed the opponent with his unstoppable sword momentum. Puff! Puff! The long sword in Yi Ziwen's hand drew a blood opening on their necks. Fresh blood sprayed like a pillar. The two brothers' eyes widened. They didn't expect that Yi Shiwen was so terrifying that they were defeated in an instant despite joining forces. At this time, only regret was left in their hearts. They shouldn't come back from the beginning, but their greed killed them. The old man found it unbelievable. The old man thought that even if the two brothers weren't Yi Ziwen's opponents, they would be able to stop him at least. As long as he was held back, he would be dead. There were at least dozens of people here, all of whom were masters above Transcendent Realm. No matter how powerful Yi Shiwen was, it would be a dead end if he was slowed down. But this was not the case now. The two brothers who claimed to capable of contending with the Transcendent Realm third-level expert were outmatched. They could not even sustain one move from him. Even when the old man went against them, it was impossible to defeat them with such ease. Horror flashed in his eyes. The old man didn't know that Yi Shiwen had no weaknesses in either strength or speed. Those who were inferior to him would not be able to survive long. Even if Yi Shiwen was entangled, it was impossible to defeat him by sheer numbers. When he was still in Sage Realm Great Perfection, He had a record of slaughtering hundreds of half-step great sage. Group besiegement was a weakness for many warriors, but not for Yi Shiwen. Yi Zaiwen's sword technique had no flashy effect. The only thing was that it was fast and accurate. His speed was too fast. For those warriors who were killed, they could only see the sword glimmer. There was no time even to think. By the time they returned to the senses, Yi Shiwen had already slaughtered them. At this time, the entire sea surface dyed with crimson-red blood. Corpses were floating around. The robbers were scared. Yi Shiwen was not a human at all, but a god of slaughter. Many people were completely frightened when they saw this scene. They turned around and fled. Although everyone wanted to acquire wealth, they had to be alive to enjoy it. Die. At this time, the petite old man moved. He knew he had to take the lead. Otherwise, morale would be lost. The jet-black long sword in his hand streaked across the vast sky instantly. The intimidating sword glimmering had seemingly pierced the entire sky, instantly approaching Yi Zaiwen's face in lightning speed. The petite old man had a sullen smile on his face, as if he could foresee that Yi Shiwen would be pierced on the spot. Although there were many Transcendent Realm 3rd-level warriors among the experts Yi Shiwen who killed just now, the petite old man was at Transcendent Realm 4th level, which was much more tyrannical than the two brothers just now. Even if the two brothers joined forces, they would not be the opponent of this old man. Just when his long sword almost pierced Yi Zaiwen's face, Yi Shiwen finally moved. Suddenly the long sword in his hand stood up, just enough to stand in front of the thin old man's sword tip. Dang! A crisp but vigorous sound of the metal collision came from the spot where the two swords clashed. A terrifying force emitted from the sword in Yi Zaiwen's hand. Bong! The long black sword in the old man's hand suddenly rang with a bong. A colossal force vibrated out. Although the long sword itself had resolved a considerable part of it, the remaining power made the petite old man's hand numb, as if he could not hold his weapon any longer. Yi Zaiwen's offense was just the beginning. The long sword in his hand moved. The sword flashed, and instantly fell from the sky. There was nothing too fancy. It was just a typical slash, but it was unprecedented domineering. It was domineering like an unstoppable and tyrannical lord. Dang! The old man quickly blocked the attack with the long sword in his hand. If it was just a little bit of numbness, then he lost control of his muscle now. The power came crashing down. Only then did he know that Yi Zaiwen's power was so terrifying that it was beyond imagination. Before he could get rid of the paralysis, Yi Zaiwen's second slash was launched. Song! The old man could not hold his long sword any longer, and it was knocked away directly. Horror painted his face. As a Transcendent Realm 4th level intermediate expert, he had never encountered a Transcendent Realm 1st level kid who could knock away his long sword. Worse still, the ascension was recent. Facing such a Transcendent Realm's newbie, he was beaten without the strength to fight back. It was unprecedented. The first encounter would be the omen of his death. Yi Zaiwen's third slash was impossible to dodge away. It fell off instantly. Puff! Yi Shiwen slashed the Transcendent Realm 4th level expert into half. Crimson red blood shot to the blue sky. The body fell into a daze with his eyes containing disbelief. He was a Transcendent Realm 4th level expert. How could he end up like this? This was simply unreasonable. Run, this is not a human. It's the devil! Someone shouted. The warrior group intending to besiege Yi Shiwen suddenly dispersed. More than 20 warriors instantly fled in all directions. Yi Shiwen crushed their hope. They had no confidence to confront Yi Shiwen. First, Yi Shiwen had an overwhelming victory in the face of the two brothers. He even slashed the Transcendent Realm 4th level old man into half on the spot. It was a terrifying nightmare. They couldn't bear to stay there any longer. They came together temporarily. At this time, it was natural that they would flee once the disaster was imminent. But how could Yi Shiwen let them escape? Since they had all come to besiege him, they need to face their consequences. A fled enemy would be a threatening enemy another day. Yi Shiwen spread his hands. Sword chi spiraled on the 10 fingertips. Followed by a whistling sound, sword chi shot to the sky and instantly pursued the fleeing warriors. Puff! 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 Sounds of the sword chi permeating into the body, accompanied by their screams, spread across the sea. Many warriors who were alerted by this incident were all dumbfounded. They stared dumbly at the fleeing warrior's death. Yi Shiwen wiped out those who wanted to kill him previously with lightning speed. All the people who had besieged Yi Shiwen were all beheaded. There was no slightest hindrance in the whole process. Countless people took a deep breath, looking at Yi Shiwen in disbelief. Is he still a Transcendent Realm first level? I think even Transcendent Realm 5th level can't be as scary as him. Someone was wholly dumbfounded and couldn't believe it. Besides, he is cruel and merciless. This person is probably not simple. Who says he is an easy cash cow? He is simply a tiger in disguise. Chapter 871. Entering the Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion, everyone had their hair stood up, like seeing a certain kind of vicious beast. Indeed, Yi Shiwen felt like a certain kind of ferocious beast just now. It was like a kind of vicious beast in human skin, releasing his emotions and power. Although Yi Shiwen regulated, it was still apparent from the perspective of the observer. Yi Shiwen, did you know that you were affected by the Star Beast's bloodline power just now? Yi Mo's voice appeared in Yi Ziwen's mind. Yi Shiwen nodded silently. He knew that this pleasure originated from the Star Beast. The vicious beast's blood finally began to affect his spirit and judgment. Yi Shiwen didn't want that to happen too. This situation did not appear on the Star Beast avatar. Star Beast avatar could also cultivate and fight on his own. But to put it bluntly, it was still within the control of his mind clone. It was simply impossible for this mind clone to affect the main body in turn. The situation had changed. The Star Beast bloodline was integrated into his body. These bloodlines were affecting him all the time. Currently, the influence took place. After all, those Star Beasts became vicious creatures due to genetic factors apart from their own choice. Now these genetic factors started to affect him. Yi Shiwen nodded. He knew well that the Star Beast's bloodline began to be assimilated into this body. An ordinary person would be driven crazy. It was just like how two polar bodies had a conflict with one another. For Yi Shiwen, there was a solution. As long as he wanted, this Star Beast avatar would no longer affect him at all. He could maintain the calmest state of mind with the Mingxin ancient tree, so he didn't care about this matter. On the contrary, this matter might not be a bad thing for him. It helped him relax his heart. Also, the depressed mood after coming to the ancient Baron's continent could be relieved to a certain extent. After beheading these people, Yi Shiwen did not stop. He harvested all the wealth of these people. Yi Shiwen found 20 million spirit crystals, increasing his possession to 65 million spirit crystals now. The Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion of the sunny Bamboo Island was not far away. Yi Shiwen flew for another 15 minutes before reaching the sky above Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion. Unlike Yi Ziwen's anticipation, this sea region was boiling, and it started to bubble continuously. Dense water vapor covered the entire sea surface, forming a mist. Yi Shiwen plunged in immediately. He felt that his whole body was about to burn. He quickly protected himself in his aura barrier. Yi Shiwen took out the allegedly incomplete map, and found that Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion was not far away. Even without a map, Yi Shiwen could tell because the sea level here had sunk more than 20,000 meters. The entire seabed was visible because of the heat wave. This place was supposedly under the sea. Right now, it was utterly dried with its soil filled with cracks. Yi Shiwen found it merely unrealistic. Due to the temperature, the majority of the sea creatures avoided this region. Not many sea creatures found this place bearable. Although many of the things marked on this map are unreliable, it is still better than nothing. Yi Shiwen memorized all the things on the map, and then kept it safely. This was like a barren land. At first glance, at least the ground within 10,000 miles was in the same situation. Yi Shiwen sighed. No matter who owned this cave mansion previously, even if it were not legendary Holy Realm dwellers, it would be a distinguished figure. Just by this mansion alone, people could tell how strong the owner of this mansion was. Yi Shiwen looked into a distance. It was a massive mansion. To be precise, it was a large area. This region was separated from the outside world by a vast array. Before it was opened, it was like an isolated world. However, as the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion was opened, this place became more vibrant. Yi Shiwen walked to the entrance of Holy Realm Dweller's mansion. Layers of mist arrays blocked other paths. Only the entrance was an exception. Yi Shiwen could only start from there. Soon, Yi Shiwen saw an old acquaintance not far away. It was none other than Scarlet Thunder Immortal alongside some Scarlet Thunder Gang experts and elders. Compared with Wang family's lineup, Scarlet Thunder Gang's lineup was undoubtedly much better. Almost all of them had Transcendent Realm 3rd level cultivation. Scarlet Thunder Immortal and the 2 elders were in the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak. Each of them was extremely dangerous. They were at a completely different level from the individual cultivators Yi Shiwen encountered previously. The Scarlet Thunder Gang were undoubtedly much more powerful than them. At the same time, Yi Shiwen spotted them. They also spotted Yi Shiwen. Everyone was alerted, especially Yi Shiwen. One of the elders had pursued him previously but failed. The lineup of Scarlet Thunder Gang was undoubtedly stronger than that of the Wang family. It was a pity that Yi Shiwen, who had now entered the Transcendent Realm, was also different from before. At least compared with a few days ago, he had changed drastically. Yi Shiwen. Scarlet Thunder Immortal frowned. She looked at Yi Shiwen, seemingly chanting the name. All this while, this name appeared in her ear repeatedly. She had personally tested Yi Shiwen, but not many results. Even the elders went into pursuit of him, and it was fruitless too. Later on, Crown Prince Crocodile paid a lot of attention to Yi Shiwen. This made her somewhat interested in this person. He is not simple. From the time Crown Prince Crocodile targeted him, she felt that he was not simple. After all, not all half-step Transcendent Realm warriors could stand Crown Prince Crocodile's offense. Some people even believed that he killed Yi Xiangtian. After all, Scarlet Thunder Immortal had also entered the top 100 young experts. This ranking did not seem to be outstanding at first. But in fact there were so many people in the Flourish Cloud Sea region. And it was not an exaggeration to say that there were 10 billion people. Those within the top 100 in this population were distinguished figures. She was also conceited about her strength, but the only thing she was not sure about was Yi Shiwen. She had not been able to see his bottom line. Moreover, his combat power exceeded his realm so much that she could not distinguish what was real. It turns out to be this kid. We let him run away previously. He dares to come back now. He's so bold. Do we hunt him down? A middle-aged man among the 2 elders said. He was tracking Yi Shiwen previously, but Yi Shiwen ran away. He had bottled up a lot of anger with no place to vent because of this incident. However, he could not do anything since he lost Yi Shiwen. Fortunately, Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan's members also lost track of Yi Shiwen, preventing his reputation from tarnishing. No hurry, we have been delayed for several days now. There is no need to delay this matter. Let's go in first. We decide again after taking a look inside. Scarlet Thunder Immortal did not agree to it. Seeing Yi Shiwen capable of fleeing from the elder, she knew that Yi Ziwen's movement technique was unusual. Otherwise he would not be able to do it. If she wanted to catch or even kill Yi Shiwen here, she knew it would be difficult. Even if she succeeded, it would take a long time. After spending such a long time, most of the treasures would be harvested. It would not be something she wanted. Moreover, based on the looming aura in Yi Shiwen, she knew Yi Shiwen had ascended to the Transcendent Realm. It was quite troublesome back when he was just at half-step Transcendent Realm. He had an incredible physique and superior movement technique. After entering the Transcendent Realm, it must be even more challenging to deal with. The real reason was that in this Holy Realm Dweller's mansion, every minute was precious. No one knew when the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion would be closed. Their efforts here would be in vain if others took all the treasures. Compared to this, Yi Shiwen was insignificant. Moreover, she had no reason to kill Yi Shiwen. Of course, if Yi Shiwen hindered her, it would be another matter. Lucky him. The elder glanced bitterly, and then followed everyone into the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion. Yi Shiwen, those people may not be friendly to you, sneered Yi Mon. Yi Shiwen nodded. After making sure that they were all in, Yi Shiwen and the group walked towards the entrance. Being unfriendly is not a big deal. As long as they don't mess with us, everything is fine. If they dare to ambush, things will go bitter. Like everyone in Scarlet Thunder Gang, although Yi Shiwen was not afraid of those Scarlet Thunder Gang members, he didn't want to entangle with them here. Otherwise, if he missed the treasure in Holy Realm Dweller's mansion, then it would be a hefty price. Yi Shiwen just pretended not to see them. It was only when Yi Shiwen stepped into the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion that Yi Shiwen felt a monstrous heat wave. In this environment, saber techniques like wood-burning saber technique could exert terrifying power. For the fire-attributed martial artist, it was a natural paradise for cultivation. Chapter 872. Tianyuan Mirror's Ascension. The entire Holy Realm Dweller's mansion was like a stove akin to the legendary Mountain of Flames. Looking at it, it was red, like being in a fiery world. As Yi Shiwen went inside, he could feel that the temperature got higher. He had to activate the aura barrier to wrap himself in it. Otherwise, he would still feel discomfort despite his tyrant body. The world here seemed to be in the oven, scorching and red. However, even in such a hot place, life was not extinct. On the contrary, it could be regarded as vibrant. Mountains, peaks, lush forest, and rushing water crisscrossing. It was a strange world. Yi Shiwen, it is optimum to cultivate the wood-burning saber technique here. It will be like the fish in water. 1. Said Yi Mo. Well, this is a good place, said Yi Shiwen. However, his primary thoughts were not here. He remembered that there were some treasures marked on the map. This map was not secret either. There should be many people rushing to those places. Yi Shiwen was already late. He wouldn't be able to gain anything if he delayed further. Yi Shiwen had just entered the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion not long before he encountered a surprise attack. Although the temperature here was ridiculously high, there were still beasts who were surviving tenaciously. In his line of sight, there was a red cloud approaching. It came from a distance like a curtain. Yi Shiwen squinted his eyes. It turned out to be endless scarlet giant mosquitoes, each of which had the size of a fist. The blood-colored long sting on the head could easily pierce the aura barrier of a warrior. This creature was marked on the map, labeled as dangerous. These mosquitoes should be at the Sage Realm level. The young one was just legendary. However, its overwhelming number definitely would put people into despair. Even if a Transcendent Realm 7th level expert was stuck in it, only death awaits. However, Yi Shiwen was unfazed. As long as he didn't completely get stuck in these scarlet giant mosquitoes, it didn't matter. The average person couldn't escape the encirclement, but Yi Shiwen could do it. In a moment, the scarlet giant mosquitoes that occupied the sky approached Yi Shiwen. The loud buzzing sound obscured all the other sounds in the world, as if there was only this sound in this world. The storm wings behind Yi Shiwen unfolded instantly. He did not dare to underestimate the power of these scarlet giant mosquitoes. Die! Yi Shiwen yelled violently with a stern expression. The long sword in his hand condensed in an instant. The sound of metal clanging was endless. Countless sword auras were crazily split in the sky, piercing through the opponents instantly. This was the Burial Sword. Although the power was worse than Invincible Sword and Burial Earth Sword, it was effective to fight a large group of enemies, especially against these scarlet giant mosquitoes. All scarlet giant mosquitoes that were swept by the sword light screeched in weird noises. All of them were slashed into a cluster of blood mist, exploding in the air. There was none managed to escape. Yi Shiwen was able to slash hundreds of scarlet giant mosquitoes with one attack. But for the scarlet giant mosquitoes in billions of numbers, it was like a small splash in the sea. One appeared after another once it was eliminated. The sky was quickly filled with countless scarlet giant mosquitoes. Yi Shiwen fought and retreated, keeping his speed up to avoid being surrounded by scarlet giant mosquitoes. He fought in guerrilla tactics while at the same time activated his wood-burning saber technique. Inside Yi Ziwen's body, the mysterious space began to gleam with dazzling light. Masses of information began to be analyzed and branded at Yi Ziwen's soul. Yi Ziwen's understanding of the wood-burning saber technique was also improving at an unprecedented speed. There were 3 steps of wood-burning saber technique: foundation building, chi refinement, and saber manifestation. Yi Shiwen had accomplished the cultivation of foundation building as soon as he started. The prerequisite was achieving 5 elements. Interpromoting. It was still fine, even if there was no balance. But for Yi Shiwen, who had absorbed the star beast's blood, it was not a challenge at all. After completing the foundation building process, the following was the qi refinement. Yi Shiwen would need to cultivate the unique energy of the wood-burning saber technique in the body. Yi Shiwen spread out his hands. Metal, wood, water, fire, and earth. The power of 5 elements appeared in his hands and extinguished again. Soon, his hands became abnormally red. Seemingly, there was a crackling sound like burning wood. Yi Shiwen condensed his saber aura. While waving the long sword in his hand, he launched sword lights, killing the scarlet giant mosquitoes that flew over. He maintained his speed during the whole process to lure the scarlet giant mosquitoes while not getting surrounded by them. These scarlet giant mosquitoes' shoot-distance sprint was rapid, almost in an instant. They could dive hundreds of meters. As long as they were close to a specific range, ordinary people would not escape the mosquitoes' pursuit. However, Yi Ziwen's short-distance dash was faster than the mosquitoes. He was just like a blob of golden light, killing those mosquitoes one by one to escape their pursuit. As scarlet giant mosquitoes were cut in half and turned into a blood mist, Tianyuan Mirror continuously absorbed them. Yi Shiwen, kill more of them. Tianyuan Mirror will soon be ascended to intermediate human level. Yimo's voice was faintly excited. Hearing Yimo's words, Yi Shiwen immediately became more vigorous to kill the opponent. He could feel that the Tianyuan Mirror in his body had reached a critical point. He was just one step away from the breakthrough. At this time, it was even more impossible to give up. Yi Shiwen maintained his speed as the entire Scarlet Giant Mosquitoes group. He headed straight inside of Holy Realm Dweller's mansion. Many warriors along the way were almost scared to death after witnessing the scene. This is not real, right? Who is this person targeted by the Scarlet Giant Mosquitoes group? He will be dead for sure. They said that the most dangerous thing in this Holy Realm Dweller's mansion is getting targeted by these Scarlet Giant Mosquitoes. Although a single one of them isn't a threat, the huge numbers make them the most dangerous killer. A person couldn't kill those Scarlet Giant Mosquitoes while running away. These warriors ran away madly and did not dare to approach Yi Shiwen for fear of being targeted by this large group of Scarlet Giant Mosquitoes. By that time, it would be their demise. They didn't have Yi Ziwen's speed, continuously dodging the attacks. Die! Yi Shiwen suddenly made another move. But this time, it was not the long sword in his hand, but a burst of fiery saber aura. It was the burning saber aura, which instantly sent the heat wave in the sky. Puff! 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 Countless scarlet giant mosquitoes were cut in half on the spot. Among the bloody clouds, he chopped out space several hundred meters long. The fiery long saber seemed to have evaporated all the water in the scarlet giant mosquitoes instantly, turning them pitch black like coal. Yi Shiwen was overjoyed. He finally wielded this wood-burning saber technique. Although it was only at intermediate human level due to its incomplete state, Yi Shiwen could easily exert the advanced human level's power in this environment. It was no weaker than his shattered star fist. On the contrary, the consumption was much smaller than the shattered star fist in this environment. Yi Shiwen only wielded this technique preliminarily, not even at minor mastery status. However, when he became proficient with the remaining parts and attained the great perfection of wood-burning saber technique to great perfection, he could infer the remaining incomplete parts and restore wood-burning saber technique to the advanced human level. Yi Shiwen slashed the fiery long saber faster and faster. It looked like a blooming refined flower in the sky. Countless fiery saber aura jetted out from it, and the surrounding air seemed to be burning. The scarlet giant mosquitoes were like a moth battling a fire. They just dived into it. Before they could do anything, they turned into ash already. But for the entire scarlet giant mosquitoes group, this was just a minor part of them. Their way of defeating the enemy was to rely on numbers. They were not a particularly tyrannical group. Yi Shiwen himself didn't know how long he flew forward. He almost devoted himself to the fight with the scarlet giant mosquitoes group. He flew for a long time. Many scarlet giant mosquitoes died under his hands. He didn't count, but it should be at least 10 million. The group of scarlet giant mosquitoes seemed to be irritated. They had never encountered a difficult opponent like Yi Shiwen. Generally speaking, when other warriors or beasts encountered them, there was only one dead end. They either managed to flee or failed their escape. Their blood was all sucked up in the end, turning into a mummy. However, Yi Ziwen's speed was not slow at all, especially in short distances. He was faster than them in the short distance dash. The mosquitoes were beaten passively. They could not do anything to Yi Shiwen. Boom! A bloody aura swept out of Yi Ziwen's body. Tianyuan mirror jumped out of his body. A majestic and powerful aura swept out uncontrollably. Boom! A colossal blood jet blasted out of Tianyuan mirror, fell into the scarlet giant mosquitoes group, and immediately cleared a space several hundred meters in radius. After being promoted to intermediate human level, the Tianyuan mirror's power had doubled. Yi Shiwen laughed loudly. The storm wings behind him accelerated their fan speed. Yi Shiwen quickly turned into streamers, throwing away this endless group of scarlet giant mosquitoes. Tianyuan mirror had successfully ascended. There was no need for him to fight with these scarlet giant mosquitoes. Chapter 873. Phoenix's Flame Fruit. Although this holy realm dweller's mansion was in the seabed, there were countless beasts. In the following days, Yi Shiwen encountered several batches of beasts, but never encountered a batch like scarlet giant mosquitoes. The beast group was almost peerless. Puff! Yi Shiwen waved a fiery long saber in his hand, beheading a transcendent realm third-level beast. Blood splashed, but the hot temperature quickly evaporated it. In this scorching holy realm dweller's mansion, all the beasts were almost fire attributed. After all, the holy realm dweller's mansion was the most conducive environment for them. Boom! In the extreme distance, a dazzling red light with majestic vitality rushed straight into the sky, changing the world's color. Yi Shiwen looked at it vigilantly. It's such a powerful fluctuation of vitality. It's either a treasure discovered, or that celestial material has matured, ready to be harvested, said Yi Shiwen. When this red light rushed straight into the sky, Yi Shiwen felt the oppressive aura around him. They all headed in that direction. This red light attracted too many people's attention. Everyone's speed soared to their limits. Not only Yi Shiwen realized great treasure might be born, everyone could feel the opportunity contained in it. Yi Shiwen naturally did not stop, flying directly across the vast sky towards the place where the red light passed. Soon, the red light that caused the commotion of countless warriors disappeared without a trace, but it couldn't stop everyone from moving in that direction. When Yi Shiwen arrived, many people were already there. He was not the first to be there. It was a valley. In the valley, a vast scarlet tree appeared in everyone's eyes. There were 5 scarlet fruits on the big tree, which were the essence of the whole tree. At this time, it seemed to have matured and exuded a seductive fragrance. Around this big tree, there were a few people. They were none other than the Wang family members. Brats, get out of here. This is not a place where you can be. This Phoenix's flame fruit tree is not something you can touch. At this time, a black-robed old man said coldly at the Wang family. He didn't put the Wang family in his eyes and kept his eyes fixed on the fiery red tree. It turns out to be the Phoenix's flame fruit tree? No wonder even old man Yin is attracted. According to legend, this Phoenix's flame fruit tree was reborn after being contaminated with Phoenix's Nirvana's flames. If anyone eats this Phoenix's flame fruit, he can ascend his physique to the next level. There's a chance to obtain the Phoenix's immortal physique. He will be hard to kill in the future. This Phoenix's flame fruit tree is so powerful, but unfortunately, it will fall into the hands of Old Freak Yin. Old Freak Yin is too powerful and great at assassination. Even the Transcendent Realm 5th level experts die in his hands. Whispers from the surroundings reached their ears. Everyone coveted the Phoenix's flame fruit tree at this moment, but they were all afraid of Old Freak Yin clad in shamanic robes. None dared to act rashly. Everyone in the Wang family had a long face. They were all Transcendent Realm experts, but at this time, they were called a brat. It was a huge humiliation. Still, they were helpless about it. They heard of Old Freak Yin's notoriety. Someone spoke ill of him secretly, but his entire family was slaughtered in the end. A tyrannical veteran expert, let alone their juniors, even Wang Yanghua felt troubled encountering him. Senior, there are 5 fruits here. Wang family first discovered this phoenix's flame fruit tree. It should belong to us, but since the senior is also there, we dare not monopolize it. We only need 1 of them. The other 4 will go to senior. How about it? Wang Mingyu stepped forward and said at this time, first come, first serve? Is there such a rule? I only know that the bigger fist wins the fight. I want all the 5 fruits here. Old Freak Yin sneered. He was sly, and he didn't take Wang Mingyi's words to heart. The surrounding warriors all showed a displeased expression. The phoenix's flame fruit tree was precious. There were a total of only 5 fruits that matured in 1 bloom. If Old Freak Yin wanted to drive away all the young masters of the Wang family, no one would complain. It was always good to have 1 less competitor. But Old Freak Yin intended to monopolize all of it and push away all competitors. They could not accept it, but Old Freak Yin was notorious. No one wanted to stand out in resisting him. This is too overbearing. No matter what, we have found it first. How can we left with nothing? At this time, a young expert among the Wang family who had just reached Transcendent Realm first level said, dissatisfied. Perhaps he was in the Wang family who was used to being sought after. He dared to voice out his dissatisfaction. As soon as this remark came out, everyone in the Wang family had their face turned bitter, especially Wang Mingyu and Wang Feiyun. Their complexions changed drastically. Compared with the other masters of the Wang family, they both had much more experience. Yi Shiwen watched in secret and shook his head. The Wang family's young master had not encountered many challenges in life. At this time, he dared to argue on the first come, first serve basis. This rationale could be effective sometimes. But they were too weak. If the Wang family were strong enough, rather than Old Freak Yin robbing them, they robbed Old Freak Yin instead. Being weak was the greatest sin. A person with extensive experience would never act so. Okay. Old Freak Yin's face changed slightly. He exclaimed, but there was a murderous hint in his gaze. Shwa. Old Freak Yin stomped on his feet. His figure disappeared instantly. When he reappeared, he had already appeared in front of the warrior who spoke up just now. Bang! Old Freak Yin's skinny palm suddenly shot out. The warrior flew out on the spot, spouting blood. Senior, please be merciful and give face to our Wang family, said Wang Mingyu hastily. At this time, her only margin chip was Wang family's reputation. Then Old Freak Yin's face changed slightly and gave a hollow sneer. Do you think the Wang family can scare me off? Despite Old Freak Yin saying this, he didn't continue to chase and beat everyone in the Wang family. Get out before I change my mind, said Old Freak Yin coldly, but he didn't continue to hunt the Wang family down. Although everyone in the Wang family was depressed, they knew that they were not Old Freak Yin's opponent. They quickly retreated with the injured young master. They had discovered the fruits first, but they had to give way to the stronger Old Freak Yin. At this time, everyone in the Wang family found Yi Shiwen in the crowd. They were immediately surprised. Brother Yi. Wang Mingyu hurriedly stepped forward and said, It's great you are fine. We heard that many people are hunting you down afterward, and we are all worried. Yi Shiwen smiled and shook his head. It's okay. They wouldn't be able to chase up to me. Yes, Brother Yi's strength is evident. How can those people catch up with Brother Yi? Said Wang Feiyun with a smile. Seeing Yi Shiwen at this time, there was only endless joy left in his heart as if he suddenly had support at his back. Initially, after Yi Shiwen left South Bamboo Island, soon many people were like beasts that smelled blood. They all chased him out. The Wang family was worried for a while. Only after a while, the news broke out, stating that the pursuit of Yi Shiwen had failed. They seemed to lose Yi Shiwen in the middle of the chase. The Wang family was relieved. In any case, the Wang family and Yi Shiwen still had a lot in common when exploring the Holy Realm Dweller's mansion. You discovered this phoenix's flame fruit tree first? Yi Shiwen asked. The phoenix's flame fruit tree was also a legendary tree in the outside world. Countless warriors coveted phoenix's flame fruit. If there was enough phoenix's flame fruit, it was even possible to cultivate into an immortal physique similar to a phoenix. No one does not want it. However, the environment where the phoenix's flame fruit tree grows was harsh. It was generally impossible to discover it. Unexpectedly, there was a phoenix's flame fruit tree here. Even Yi Shiwen had the intention to snatch the entire phoenix's flame fruit tree. What was the big deal with phoenix's flame fruit? One could get as much phoenix's flame fruit as they wanted as long as one had a phoenix's flame fruit tree. But Yi Shiwen was just thinking about it. It was impossible to achieve because phoenix's flame fruit tree was a strange tree that was contaminated with the phoenix's flames. Every time it bore fruit, it would self-immolate. It would be reborn, transformed into a phoenix, and leaves. The tree had to transform 99 times in a row. If the continuous transformation succeeded, phoenix's flame fruit tree might truly transform into a phoenix. In the ancient phoenix domain, there was a phoenix that originated from phoenix's flame fruit tree. Hence, countless people would think that this was a divine fruit tree. Everyone in the Wang family nodded in embarrassment. In any case, they discovered the phoenix's flame fruit tree first, but they had no way to protect it. They could only watch old Freak Yin occupying the phoenix's flame fruit tree. The rage in their heart was evident. At this time, old Freak Yin was quite proud when he scared away these juniors in the Wang family. Immediately his gaze was intimidating like thunder. He looked at everyone and said, "Anyone else have anything to say?" Everyone was silent. All of a sudden, a deep voice emerged. Chapter 874. Phoenix's Flame Fruit, Count Me One. Old Freak Yin, there are 5 Phoenix's flame fruits here. Do you want to monopolize it alone? A deep voice came from a distance. A pair of tall brothers stepped forward, wearing leather armor belonging to a sea creature. Isn't that the Tsungnan duo? Someone immediately recognized this pair of brothers. In the nearby sea region, the Tsungnan duo was also famous, not losing to Old Freak Yin. The leader among Tsungnan duo spoke, staring coldly at Old Freak Yin like wolves. Old Freak Yin frowned. He didn't expect it to be the brothers. He was better than either of these two, but he found it tricky to deal with the two simultaneously. Hehe brother. This old freak said it correctly too. Why should we share it with others? The fruit here belongs to our 2 brothers. If anyone wants to grab it, we will kill him. Tsungnan duo's younger brother said with a smile. His rugged face had a stubborn look. He had a vast long hammer in his hand. After swinging it twice, the entire air was blasted in an instant. The 2 brothers' terrifying strength could be imagined. You dare to grab things from me? Die, said Old Freaking coldly. If the Tsungnan duo shared evenly with him, he found it negotiable. However, the duos dared to monopolize it. It went beyond his limit. Old Freaking sneered. His skinny claws suddenly grabbed out. A giant monstrous claw was launched in an instant, streaking across the sky. The air which the claw passed through was cracked. It instantly grabbed the younger brother of the Tsungnan duo. The younger brother of the Tsungnan duo did not want to lose out. He immediately swung the hammer directly and bombarded the claw. Boom! With a loud metal clashing sound, the terrifying force directly set off waves of surging air, which instantly swept out. The Kangnan's duo younger brother took a step back. In the previous contest, he suffered a little loss. He cried out strangely, "Brother, let's work together and kill this old fool." The Tsungnan duo's leader nodded immediately. Mountain-splitting saber appeared in his hand. He slashed it downward. The thick chi instantly cut the entire sky in half, slashing straight towards Old Freak Yin. Tsungnan duo's younger brother immediately dashed forward and swung his hammer. There were no extra fancy moves, but just a head-to-head battle. The 2 brothers cooperated in a unique tacit understanding. Old Freak Yin frowned slightly. The 2 brothers were tricky. The experts focused on strength found it troublesome to deal with. The Tsungnan duo relied on sheer strength. It was so direct. They had no fanciness to it, but at the same time no weakness too. It was like how Yi Shiwen made a move, carrying the momentum of the thunder. He would push his opponent with no strength to fight back due to the extreme strength and speed. Nevertheless, it was merely tricky. If it was a regular item, so be it. He didn't want to confront these two troublesome brothers just for that. However, the phoenix's flame fruit was at stake. If old Freak Een missed it, he would not have such a chance in the future. Phoenix's flame fruit was the legend to exist only in the ancient Phoenix domain. If he missed it, he would miss it. This Phoenix's flame fruit had only 5 fruits. In other words, it had just reached the 5th transformation. It could be considered infancy. Every time the tree transforms, the fruit count would increase by 1 until the last 99 transformations. After that, the tree would truly transform into a phoenix body. After each transformation, the fruits would get better and better. Although this was not the best state of Phoenix's flame fruit, it was already a treasure that the folks considered fated. Old Freak Een made his move with all his strength. His skinny palms turned into ghost claws. He scratched downward with thick black mist rippling from him. Boom, boom, boom. Old Freak Een and the Tsungnan duo fought fiercely. They seemed evenly matched, making it impossible to judge who would win in the end. The other warriors around were also incited. Their eyes lit up. No one wanted to give up the Phoenix's flame fruit. The reason why they still stayed behind was to wait for such an opportunity. The opportunity where the two suffered terribly in the contest would give them an opening to make a move. Boom. After the two sides clashed again, the figures of the three separated. Both sides stared at each other vigilantly. In this continuous fight, there was no victory or defeat between the two of them. It would take a long while to see the winner emerge. At this time, both parties seemed to have noticed that a group of warriors was watching. Well, let's join hands to drive these people away first. As to how we distribute them, that is our own business later. Old Freak Een rolled his eyes and said. He wanted to clear off all the spectators who he thought were unrelated people. In the end, even if he had to fight to the death with these two brothers, at least he wouldn't want these guys to reap the benefit. Most importantly, he could still negotiate with the brothers. He would end up with nothing left. But if these guys were there, it would be completely different. Many warriors immediately averted their gaze. Those who were still looking at the old Freak Een had their eyes filled with greed and fear at the same time. It was true that they intended to reap the benefits when there was an opening. However, old Freak Een intended to clear off all competitors. What's your right to push us off? Someone shouted, dissatisfied. TSK, big brother, I think the old man said something reasonable. These people are annoying. It is better to clear off the competitors first. The younger brother of the Tsungnan duo sneered as he looked at the warriors around maliciously. Everyone suddenly became nervous. We don't need to be afraid. They are powerful, but there are only 2 of them. They can't be the opponents of all of us. A warrior yelled unwillingly. Immediately, a hammer smashed upon him. He was crushed into a pile of mincemeat. Troublesome. I'm asking you to leave. We can't blame our brothers for the deaths and injuries, said Tsungnan duo's younger brother impatiently. Everyone was immediately stunned by his sudden violence. They didn't expect that he would dare to do it this way and be so direct. But when they thought about it, neither of these two parties was good people. Under the Phoenix's flame fruit's temptation, they would do anything, let alone murder. TSK, it's so lively here. How can the Scarlet Thunder Gang miss out? Suddenly, a little voice came from a distance, only to see Scarlet Thunder Immortal walking in the air. There was another Transcendent Realm 4th level elder beside her. It was the middle-aged elder who wanted to hunt down Yi Shiwen but failed. It's you. Old Freak Een looked at Scarlet Thunder Immortal. There was a hint of fear in his gaze. Unlike the Wang family, he might restrain himself a little. However, the Scarlet Thunder Gang was a powerful force in this area. In addition to the giant Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan and Sea Dragon Mansion, Scarlet Thunder Gang was a superior force in the nearby sea region. Many strong experts were in them, so he had to be vigilant and careful. Our Scarlet Thunder Gang wants the Phoenix's flame fruit. Scarlet Thunder Immortal said with a smile, and a bit coquettishly. Everyone felt her greed was quite heavy. Demon Beast. Wang Mingyu was unsatisfied as always. If you want Phoenix's flame fruit, you have to ask us, brother, first. This Phoenix's flame fruit belongs to our brother. Compared with the somewhat fearful old Freak Een, the Tsungnan duo was more fearless. You dare to fight against our Scarlet Thunder Gang. We will chase you to the end of the world, said the middle-aged elder bitterly. However, his eyes turned to Yi Shiwen among the crowd. He was indignant with his failure in pursuing Yi Shiwen. Am I afraid of you? What's the big deal other than your death? I can move to other places. The Tsungnan duo didn't care at all. For wandering warriors, these great forces had deterrence, but it was not absolute. If they were pushed to a tight situation, they would leave. There were no big deals at all. Hee brother. This girl is not bad. We can grab her. Tsungnan duo's younger brother laughed lewdly. Scarlet Thunder Immortal frowned slightly. A bit of disgust flashed in his eyes. He hated these two brothers a lot. Anyway, no matter how we distribute the fruits, we must first clean up these irrelevant people. They shall not reap the benefits. Old Freak Een still did not give up this idea. Everyone's face became uglier. Old Freak Een and the Tsungnan duo were challenging for them. Besides, if the two Scarlet Thunder Gang experts joined in, they would not continue to stay. Get out. You will die if you don't leave. Elder Scarlet Thunder Gang looked at everyone with cold eyes and said. Everyone was unusually unwilling, but they had no choice but to turn around and leave. If we're fighting for whose fist bigger, then count me in for Phoenix's flame fruit. A clear voice came from the crowd. It was a thin figure, none other than Yi Shiwen. Are you so eager to die? The middle-aged elder narrowed his eyes, full of murderous intent. Chapter 875. Obtaining Phoenix's flame fruit. Everyone was stunned, especially those who hadn't left. They stopped immediately, eager to see what Yi Shiwen wanted to do. Is he courting death? After all, in the eyes of everyone, Yi Shiwen was merely a transcendent realm first level. His action for wanting a piece of the treasures equated to digging his own grave. There is another one who is not afraid of death. Tsungnan duo sneered. They might look barbaric and stubborn, but they were no fool. They were rather shrewd. Being a fool would not allow them to progress this far. It seems that you are courting death. The middle-aged elder threw a sharp glare and instantly pounced on Yi Shiwen. His figure flickered. A long spear appeared in his hand, piercing the vast sky, and approached Yi Shiwen. Due to the high speed, the arm's friction with the air made the arm seem burning, looking like a hot iron rod. Dang! Yi Shiwen condensed a fiery saber aura in his hands and clashed with him. The force directly set off an endless wave of air. The middle-aged elder took 2 steps directly, while Yi Shiwen remained motionless. Based on the physique alone, no one could contend with Yi Shiwen, a monster in human skin. Everyone was a little surprised, especially the old Freak Een and others. Seeing this scene, they found it a little bit unbelievable. This transcendent realm first-level brat made a big talk. Initially, everyone else regarded him as seeking death. However, reality told the story otherwise. He had the strength to back up his participation. Scarlet Thunder Immortal looked at Yi Shiwen vaguely. She thought Yi Ziwen's physical cultivation was not bad. He could contend against her, who hadn't tried her best at the time. But now the situation had far exceeded her imagination. But at this point, Yi Shiwen had shown enough strength. If these people didn't want to face off indefinitely, they could only agree to Yi Shiwen to join in. In particular, old Freak Een began to feel a little anxious. It didn't take long before more people had joined in. If there were more competitors, his chances would slim down even further. At this time, the others who just stopped had to take their leave. No matter whether Yi Shiwen had enough strength or not, it had little to do with them. The malicious gaze of the other people shrouded again. The Wang family got slightly excited. Although they still hadn't obtained Phoenix's flame fruit, Yi Ziwen's intervention was better than having the fruits taken by these people. Now there are 5 Phoenix's flame fruits here, but we have 6 people. How do you want to divide it? Said Scarlet Thunder Immortal. It's simple. I want 2 of them. Since my friends found these Phoenix's flame fruit first, they have the right to have one. I will have one too. The remaining 3 of you can get exactly 1 each, said Yi Shiwen lightly. Impossible. Old Freak Een retorted first. He had no opinion, with Tsungnan Duo and Scarlet Thunder Gang having a share each. However, he could not stand it for only having one. He felt he was the one who discovered Phoenix's flame fruit first. As for those people in the Wang family, he had already ignored their existence. He was more legitimate to be the first who discovered the fruit, at least among these people. As for Yi Ziwen's statement that he would leave one to everyone in the Wang family, he didn't believe this explanation. In his opinion, Yi Shiwen was going to have 2 of the fruits. How could he accept it? TSK brat. You're small in size, which doesn't fit your big appetite. Songnan Duo sneered. Us brothers need at least 2 of the fruits. You all will distribute the rest. No, we need at least 2 fruits for the Scarlet Thunder gang. The middle-aged elder said, seemingly did not want to be outdone. There were 4 forces and 6 people, all of which insisted on having 2 pieces of the share. This was a huge problem since no one was willing to compromise. Since we can't reach a mutual agreement, it rests on our capabilities. Keep what you can grab, said Yi Shiwen. As soon as Yi Shiwen stopped his sentence, Old Freak Yin moved instantly. A figure flickered continually towards the Phoenix's flame fruit tree. Old Freak Yin extended his hand, summoning a black mist, taking 5 Phoenix's flame fruit roll away. He left no room for discussions. He might even offend Scarlet Thunder Gang, but the prize of 5 Phoenix's flame fruits sufficed for that. Damn it, leave those Phoenix's flame fruit. Songnan Duo reacted hastily. He caught up to Old Freak Yin in an instant. A massive hammer and a saber fell towards Old Freak Yin. The horrible energy set off an endless heat wave. Damn it. Old Freak Yin didn't dare to sustain the heavy blow from these 2 men. Otherwise he might be killed on the spot. Younger brother, go and put away the Phoenix's flame fruit. I'll support you. Songnan Duo's leader held his mountain-splitting saber. He stared at the crowd with cold eyes. And Songnan Duo's younger brother instantly rushed towards the Phoenix's flame fruit tree, trying to take away all the Phoenix's flame fruit. Almost none of these people were satisfied with getting only 1 or 2. They all wanted to take them all away. Damn it, stop him. Scarlet Thunder Immortal cursed. The middle-aged elder next to her rushed out, confronting Songnan Duo's leader directly. A long spear in the elder's hands as they both clashed. Scarlet Thunder Immortal morphed a giant hand out of thin air in the sky. It immediately bombarded Songnan Duo's younger brother. Get off me. Songnan Duo's younger brother swung out his hammer immediately. The impact was akin to a meteorite crash. The hammer collided with the giant hand fiercely. After setting off countless turbulences in the sky and successfully stopping Scarlet Thunder Immortal, Songnan Duo's younger brother rushed directly to the Phoenix's flame fruit tree not far away. He was only a few steps away. He would never give up. You have to ask me before taking it. At this time, Old Freak Yin snorted. He condensed a giant ghost claw. It grabbed towards Songnan Duo's younger brother at the same time as Scarlet Thunder Immortal. It was not that he wanted to cooperate with Scarlet Thunder Immortal, but whoever almost obtained the fruit would face a joint attack by these people. Damn you, old freak. Don't get in the way. The Songnan Duo's younger brother yelled. He sped up with his movement technique and grabbed towards the Phoenix's flame fruit tree. Clang. A deafening clang. A massive sword composed of chi formed in the air, continuously rotating in the sky. Countless spiritual energy condensed, making it bigger and bigger. When Songnan Duo's second brother grabbed towards the Phoenix's flame fruit tree, a long sword fell all of a sudden. Puff! The sword aura cut down the left arm of Songnan Duo's younger brother on the spot. The body, superior to metal, appeared too ordinary in front of this terrifying sword aura. It was like cutting through tofu, as the left arm got mutilated. Ah! Songnan Duo's younger brother screamed in agony. He quickly retreated, only to watch his left arm mangled into minced meats in the sword aura. Who? Songnan Duo's younger brother was frightened. The speed of this sword aura was too fast, almost formed on the spot. If his speed were a little slower, he would be cut in half by that sword aura. At this time, the weakness of his slow speed was utterly exposed. It was not that he was too slow, but that the attack was too fast, making him appear sluggish. Most importantly, he had never seen moves in such speed yet impactful power. Generally speaking, moves at great speed would significantly reduce the power, and the powerful moves would naturally be slower. Of course, the logic did not go with a slower speed would increase the power output. He who had cultivated his power to the extreme had rarely encountered such an opponent who had suppressed him in all aspects. A cyan figure dashed directly into the crowd. It was Yi Shiwen who made a move. Damn you, brat. The Tsungnan duo's younger brother was depressed and wanted to vomit blood. He thought that he would be able to take Phoenix's flame fruit. By that time, as long as he could escape with his brother, these Phoenix's flame fruits would be theirs. Unexpectedly, Yi Shiwen intervened at this moment, directly making him fall short. His entire arm was cut off, making him a disabled person. Even in the transcendent realm, it was challenging to regrow a severed arm. After all, human clans were not like demon clan. Accompanied by a roar, the hammer in his right hand bombarded Yi Shiwen. Yi Zaiwen's speed was already fast. However, the attack had approached Yi Shiwen. It moved almost instantaneously and appeared in front of Yi Shiwen. Facing the hammer that fell toward him, Yi Shiwen squeezed his 5 fingers into a fist and directly punched upward. The punch was like a star, facing the hammer that fell like a meteor. Boom! Unparalleled shockwaves swept out. A small mushroom cloud rose, setting off an endless heat wave. Amidst the dust and debris flying in the sky, the fanatical Tsungnan duo's younger brother exhausted all his strength, and yet couldn't hurt Yi Shiwen even a slight. Boom! With a loud crash, the hammer flew out with a terrifying force on the spot. It spun in the sky and finally crashed on a mountain peak, directly blasting it into a flatland. One could imagine the power of this hammer, but even so, it could not hurt Yi Shiwen. That Tsungnan duo's younger brother finally had fear crept upon him. His palm was severely mutilated. Since the hammer flew in the distance, it was evident Yi Shiwen had a far superior strength than him. But in the next second, he hardly had time to think about it. A sword light flashed with a splendid bud of blood bloomed on his neck. Blood spurted out on the spot. His body quickly became cold, with his vitality losing in every second. A blood light flashed out of Yi Zaiwen's body. He retrieved the 5 Phoenix's flame fruits instantly. Chapter 876. Killing the Tsungnan duo younger brother. The Tsungnan duo's leader, who was still fighting with the middle-aged elder, suddenly shouted in grief. Their brotherhood went on for thousands of years. Few people could be their opponents when they joined hands. Now that he witnessed Yi Shiwen beheading his brother, the heartache made him go crazy. At this time, he directly abandoned the opponent in front of him and approached Yi Shiwen. The middle-aged elders had no intention of continuing to pester the Tsungnan duo's leader. Initially, he was trying to delay time for Scarlet Thunder Immortal, so that she could stop Tsungnan duo's younger brother and seize Phoenix's flame fruit. However, that Phoenix's flame fruit had fallen into Yi Zaiwen's hands. Their fights were meaningless. Brat, you are bold, Old Freaking shouted violently. If you don't hand it over, only death awaits you. Yi Shiwen dared to occupy the Phoenix's flame fruits alone. In his opinion, it was almost unforgivable. Of course, he would not have thought that he wanted to have Phoenix's flame fruit all by himself. Or in his opinion, there was no problem with him wanting all Phoenix's flame fruit alone. Brat, hand over Phoenix's flame fruit. Otherwise, you will be dead today, and no one can save you. The middle-aged elder looked at Yi Shiwen viciously and said. Even though he had questions about Yi Shiwen killing Tsungnan duo's younger brother just now, it was just a little surprise. In his view, Yi Shiwen was just lucky in his surprise attack. If it wasn't for the surprise in cutting Tsungnan duo's younger brother's arm, there was no way Yi Shiwen could smoothly behead Tsungnan duo's younger brother. If he were to be careful, Yi Shiwen should have no chance at all. Hand it over? Is it possible? Just now we have agreed. It depends on our capability. Since I grabbed it, it's mine, said Yi Shiwen coldly. Since Phoenix's flame fruit was in his hand, how could there be any reason to hand it out? In that case, don't blame us if you die. Old Freaking dashed straight up, but he was not the fastest one. There was a figure faster than him. It was the Tsungnan duo's leader, who had his younger brother beheaded by Yi Shiwen. At this time he looked like a madman, holding the mountain-splitting saber. He continuously slashed out a saber aura towards Yi Shiwen. At this time, Scarlet Thunder Immortal and the middle-aged elder finally couldn't help it. They both rushed forward. No matter if they were still in a fight previously, they had the common objective to kill Yi Shiwen and snatch Phoenix's flame fruit from him. Facing the Transcendent Realm 4th level peak experts, Yi Shiwen remained unfazed. However, he must not be surrounded by the 4 Transcendent Realm 4th level peak experts. Otherwise, it would be a severe problem. I need to defeat them one by one. Almost in an instant, Yi Shiwen had already made a judgment. His target was none other than the Tsangnan duo's leader, who went crazy and was determined to kill him. In an instant, a fiery saber aura appeared in Yi Ziwen's hand, which turned into a vast flame saber. Yi Shiwen slashed it towards Tsangnan duo's leader. In this hot environment, Yi Ziwen's wood-burning saber technique also seemed to have received a substantial complementary effect. It had a power far surpassing intermediate human level, almost comparable to the advanced human-level saber technique. Die! Tsangnan duo's leader roared. His eyes filled with killing intent. He clenched the long saber. Terrifying saber aura instantly blasted out. 2 long sabers met in the sky. The terrifying saber aura swept all over in an instant. Dang! Horrific shockwaves swept away in an instant. This was the collision of 2 terrifying powers. Tsangnan duo cultivated the path of vigorous and heavy power. It was overwhelming for the others. In the face of Yi Shiwen, who was more domineering than him, it was not worthy. The terrifying power from the saber caused Tsangnan duo's leader, who leaped over to stagnate. But at this moment, Yi Shiwen began to counterattack. His speed was faster than Tsangnan duo's leader. In an instant, another saber slash arrived at Tsangnan duo's leader. It was like the legendary axe, 1. Although simple, it was effective. Tsangnan duo's speed was not as fast as Yi Shiwen. At this time, he could barely raise his saber to resist the attack. Boom! Another saber slash directly caused the Tsangnan duo's leader to be knocked away on the spot, like a cannonball. The Tsangnan duo's leader was startled immediately. He never thought that this would happen. He could not even feel the blood dripping from the corner of his mouth. It was the first time that he was smashed into the air with such an overwhelming advantage in strength. The burning fiery long saber in Yi Ziwen's hand slashed toward him at a terrifying speed. Puff! The saber slashed directly on Tsangnan duo's leader, destroying all the defensive martial instruments on him in an instant. The aura barrier was also dissipated in an instant, making it impossible to withstand a blow. Boom! Tsangnan duo's leader's sturdy body was instantly smashed to the ground, creating a giant crater directly. Yi Shiwen didn't even bat an eye. He directly unleashed a fiery saber aura. Heat waves in the environment amplified this fiery saber aura. It immediately slashed down. Boom! A small mushroom cloud rose from that crater. The terrifying power caused everything in that crater to be eradicated. The Tsangnan duo's leader was slashed into pieces. He was not Yi Ziwen's opponent at all. Yi Shiwen, you have to be faster. After those people leave, the news of Phoenix's flame fruit will be spread. I'm afraid there will be more powerful experts coming by then, said Yi Mo quickly. Yi Shiwen nodded. He also thought of this. That was why he did not hesitate and went for the kill. Time could not be delayed any longer. For these people alone, he could still handle it. However, once a more powerful expert came, he could only escape into the wilderness. He would not have his share on the Phoenix's flame fruit. In a blink of an eye, another Transcendent Realm 4th level peak expert perished in the hands of Yi Shiwen. He killed another Transcendent Realm 4th level peak expert within a short period. This scene quickly frightened everyone. Initially, the 3 felt that Yi Shiwen was merely taking advantage of others' weak states or succeeded in abusing others being unprepared. It seemed they were all wrong. Yi Shiwen was more than terrifying. It was hard to imagine how Yi Shiwen, Transcendent Realm 1st level warrior, could easily kill a Transcendent Realm 4th level peak expert. As a matter of fact, the Transcendent Realm 1st level could only be regarded as the Transcendent Realm's elementary stage. The Transcendent Realm 4th level was the intermediate stage of the Transcendent Realm. The gap between the 3rd and 4th levels was far greater than the 2nd to 3rd levels, let alone the first and fourth levels. In their views, the side with an overwhelming advantage should be the fourth-level warrior rather than the first-level warrior. But the current scene completely subverted their original view, which was terrifying. At this time, they were aware that their encounter was dangerous. It was ridiculous how they considered Yi Shiwen was just an ordinary transcendent realm first level, even wanting to eliminate him in the contest. In actual fact, he was the scariest one. They were frightened and did not dare to step forward, but it did not mean that Yi Zaiwen's battle was over. Yi Shiwen approached the middle-aged elder immediately after killing Songnan Duo's leader. This middle-aged elder bore the heaviest killing intent to Yi Shiwen. The elder had already tried to kill him 3 times previously, so he absolutely couldn't let the elder survive in this world anymore. You have such a fighting power. All of us made the wrong judgment. So you have killed Yi Xiangtian of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. You are dead. Haha, you are dead. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan will never let you go. The middle-aged elder suddenly remembered and said, "So what, you must die before me." Yi Shiwen did not hesitate or deny the matter, because he knew that denial was useless. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan already suspected that Yi Xiangtian's death was related to him. Denying it did not stop Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan from wanting him to die. In front of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan, Yi Zaiwen's opinion seemed to be irrelevant at all. It was meaningless to dispute the truth. As long as they suspected that Yi Shiwen was related to the death of Yi Xiangtian, they would never let him go. Boom! Yi Zaiwen's fiery saber aura swooshed down instantly. The middle-aged elder raised his spear to resist. The terrifying spear greeted him. Fiery saber aura broke through the incoming saber aura like cutting through bamboo. At this time, the middle-aged elder finally shared a similar feeling with Songnan Duo's leader just now. Is this kid a monster in human skin? The terrifying force instantly smashed away the long spear in his hand. Even the long spear at elementary human level had cracks appearing on its body. Yi Shiwen made another attack. Chapter 877. Wild Goose pecked the hunter's eyes. No, you can't kill him. Otherwise, not only the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan will pursue your life, even our Scarlet Thunder gang will not let you go, shouted Scarlet Thunder Immortal hurriedly. Yi Zaiwen's speed was too fast. Scarlet Thunder Immortal had no time to react. She was too late to go for the rescue, so she could only shout, hoping to make Yi Shiwen hesitate. Only then she would be able to save this middle-aged elder. Although there were many experts in Scarlet Thunder Gang, there were not many Transcendent Realm experts. They could not withstand such casualties. Yi Zaiwen's hand that held the long saber did stagnate for a moment, but then he quickly slashed downward firmly. Scarlet Thunder Gang would be a great threat. However, Yi Shiwen already had bad blood with the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan anyway. It was not a big deal if Scarlet Thunder Gang was added into the list. Most importantly, he didn't think that this middle-aged elder of Scarlet Thunder Gang would let him go. The 5 Phoenix's flame fruits on him were tempting. Once they learned about it, they would definitely not let them go, so the only way out was to kill them all. Only the dead would keep the secret. You want my mercy? Dream on. Yi Shiwen sneered. Phoenix's flame fruit was not the sole reason the Scarlet Thunder Gang turned hostile to him. Previously, the middle-aged elder wanted to hunt him down. At that time, if Yi Shiwen didn't have the demon wings, he would be catched up. By that time, his half-step Transcendent Realm late strength was definitely inadequate. He would die in the end. For such an enemy, how could he give mercy? Don't you dare! Scarlet Thunder Immortal shouted, feeling very anxious. She didn't expect Yi Shiwen to be such a fearless fool. After emphasizing the Scarlet Thunder Gang as the backer, the action was not only useless, but on the contrary, it was counterproductive. It made Yi Shiwen more determined in his choice. But thinking about it, only a fearless fool would kill the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan member. Does he plan to leave this sea region forever? Yi Shiwen sneered. The fiery long saber was raging. Under the surrounding heat wave's influence, it was surging with power. Boom! The long saber instantly slashed on the middle-aged elder's spear. Although the elder managed to block Yi Shiwen's saber with thunder-like momentum, the impact still bombarded on him through the spear. The middle-aged elder had no way to block it off, even though the force conducted through was merely a fragment. The middle-aged elder had no idea how great Yi Ziwen's strength was. Bang! The middle-aged elder spurted out a mouthful of blood. His body broke apart on the spot, almost disintegrating. Blood spurted like a column. Boom! His body directly slammed into a nearby mountain, blasting a corner off. It was conceivable how terrifying it was. Go, let's kill him together. Otherwise, only death awaits us. At this time, old Freaking didn't hesitate. He shouted at Scarlet Thunder Immortal. He was also eager for everyone in the Scarlet Thunder gang to be dead. Only then he could monopolize the treasure. However, he was still well aware that once the Scarlet Thunder Immortal and the middle-aged elder die, then the next person to die would be him. His adventure spanned for thousands of years. He still knew the basics of things. If he didn't join hands at this time, he reaped no benefits. Not only would he be unable to have his hand on Phoenix's flame fruit, but even his life would also be in danger. Scarlet Thunder Immortal only hesitated for a moment, and then agreed. There was no other choice at that time. 2 Transcendent Realm 4th level peak experts joined forces to attack Yi Shiwen, but they were still not a big trouble to Yi Shiwen. If the 5 of them struck together, Yi Shiwen would resort to flee. Right now there were only 2 of them. Even if they were to work together, they lacked the tacit understanding. They were even enemies previously too. They would inevitably be on guard against each other, so Yi Shiwen wasn't worried at all. Want to join hands? Yi Shiwen sneered, spreading his hands with 2 balls of flames on his palms, which instantly evolved into saber aura. It fell towards the 2. Boom, boom. With 2 terrifying collisions, the fiery long saber blocked the offensive of the 2 experts. Although it was only a moment, it was enough for Yi Shiwen. Taking advantage of this opening, he turned over to chase after the middle-aged elder. Despite the middle-aged elder being severely wounded just now, he as a Transcendent Realm expert had superb regeneration. They might have emergency pellets too. If Yi Shiwen slowed down his pursuit, the opponent might recover and launch an attack when he was off guard. At that time, he would have to face 3 people at the same time. It would pose a headache. Miss Run, you are not his opponent. Even if you join forces, it is useless. Notify the leader, summon our gang, and avenge me. You must not let him develop further. Otherwise, it will definitely bring great harm to the Scarlet Thunder gang. In addition, tell the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan it was this kid who killed Yi Xiangtian. We need them to take action. Seemingly, the middle-aged elder knew he could not escape as he saw Yi Shiwen rushing over. He alerted the miss. His eyes were full of resentment, wishing Yi Ziwen's demise despite the helpless situation he was in. At the beginning, since he was ordered to intercept Yi Shiwen, this was destined, and it could not be changed. The middle-aged elder chanted a scripture. Immediately, countless spiritual energy gathered towards him. His whole body started to turn red with a terrifying and destructive force brewing in his body. No, Yi Shiwen, he wants to self-destruct. We need to stop him quickly. Yi Mo quickly reminded him at this time. Yi Shiwen didn't need Yi Mo to remind him. He knew what the middle-aged elder was going to do. With countless battle experiences, he reacted by instinct. The fiery long saber in his hand manifested in an instant. Another slash was launched. Boom! The whole world was shaken. With the middle-aged elder as the center, the extremely terrifying power swept out like unstoppable sea waves. Numerous places within a dozen miles around were razed to the ground. The horror of a Transcendent Realm expert's self-destruct was akin to a small nuclear bomb. If it were not for the desperate situation, no Transcendent Realm expert was willing to self-destruct. Once self-destruct activated, it meant the souls would be gone, with no second chances. But fortunately, Yi Shiwen rushed over to kill the elder before he completely self-destructed. Otherwise, the power of the explosion would be much more terrifying. Even Yi Shiwen was pushed a few steps away by the terrorizing wave caused by this explosion. At this time, Old Freak Een had already taken advantage of this opening to appear in front of Yi Shiwen. We need to join hands and kill him. Otherwise, none of us will survive. Old Freak Een shouted violently. His hands morphed into ghost claws, scratching towards Yi Shiwen right away. But at this time he suddenly discovered that Scarlet Thunder Immortal did not follow up. On the contrary, she flew towards the distance and fled away. He almost understood it at once, that Scarlet Thunder Immortal had no intention to fight Yi Shiwen till the death. It was his wishful thinking from beginning to end. He was even treated as the meat shield to block Yi Shiwen off. Scarlet Thunder Immortal took advantage of what had happened to escape. "Bitch, I won't let you go." At this time, he was gloomy and mad. He hated Scarlet Thunder Immortal to the guts, even more than Yi Shiwen. If Yi Shiwen and Scarlet Thunder Immortal were put together as choices, he would definitely choose to kill Scarlet Thunder Immortal first. The wild goose pecked the hunter's eyes one. He did not have the same idea as Scarlet Thunder Immortal even at the beginning. However, after learning about Yi Zaiwen's speed, he realized that it wouldn't work. If he did not put up a desperate fight, he had no chance to survive. Hence, instead of waiting to die, it was better to make a gamble. That was the reasoning of why he joined forces with Scarlet Thunder Immortal. But who knows, Scarlet Thunder Immortal actually cheated him. In just a few moments, Scarlet Thunder Immortal had run far away. She was out of the visible range of a naked eye. He was aggrieved, but Yi Shiwen didn't give him too much time to dwell in his emotions. The slash had already approached. The fiery saber aura absorbed the heat waves in the air. It appeared like a ball of flame, which grew stronger and stronger, and finally blasted down. Boom! At this time, Old Freak Een finally felt the aggrieved feeling other people felt when facing Yi Shiwen. He was not as fast as Yi Shiwen, nor as strong as Yi Zaiwen's body. There was no way to fight. It was a dead end. Puff! Despite the first clash, he felt as if he were already exhausted after a long fight. The horrible energy ran wildly in his body. A mouthful of blood spurted fiercely. The long saber in Yi Zaiwen's hand kept slicing down. Boom! His body was like a kite with a broken string. Yi Shiwen sent him out for a distance. Most of his bones had already fallen apart. Boom! 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 One slash after another. Yi Zaiwen's saber moved at an unfathomable speed complemented with the might of Mount Tai. Boom! At last, all the defensive martial instruments on his body, and the aura barrier collapsed in an instant. He didn't have the physique of the brothers. Without the protection of the martial instruments and aura barrier, his body was blasted into a cluster of blood mist on the spot. "I'm not reconciled, bitch." His spiteful roar still echoed in the air. It was not Yi Shiwen who was scolded at the moment he died. One could imagine how deep his hatred for Scarlet Thunder Immortal was. Chapter 878. Holy Realm Dwellers Mansion's Center. After Yi Shiwen killed Old Freak Een, he wanted to chase after Scarlet Thunder Immortal. Only then did he discover that the Scarlet Thunder Immortal had run far away with no way of catching up. If Yi Shiwen went into pursuit now, he might still be able to catch up, but it would take a long time. It was also likely that he would encounter Scarlet Thunder Gang's main forces, and be entangled there. This was not what Yi Shiwen hoped. As Yi Mo said, a large number of experts would be coming soon. By that time, leaving this place would only be wishful thinking. Just when Yi Shiwen was about to leave, the Phoenix's flame fruit tree that had already been plucked out of the Phoenix's flame fruit suddenly began to burst into flames. The monstrous fire wave directly forced Yi Shiwen out a dozen miles away. That heat wave made Yi Shiwen feel terrified. If he came near, he might be burnt to ashes on the spot. This Phoenix's flame fruit tree was so terrifying. No wonder everyone only wanted to take the Phoenix's flame fruit. No one wanted to take the Phoenix's flame fruit tree away. That would simply be courting death. In this boundless flame, Phoenix's flame fruit tree was burnt to ashes bit by bit. Fie! With a loud phoenix chirping, a fiery bird reborn from the ashes amid the boundless firelight. It rose straight into the sky with a soaring aura, and disappeared directly into the sky. Yi Shiwen knew that Phoenix's flame fruit tree had left, and would look for the next place to bear Phoenix's flame fruit. Then, it would transform again and again until it successfully formed the phoenix body. Soon after, the Phoenix's flame fruit tree turned into a phoenix and flew away. Yi Shiwen left and flew in the direction where the Wang family had left. Not long after Yi Shiwen left, a monstrous and blazing flame fell from the sky, and the terrifying aura spread to the surroundings. When he landed, the aura dissipated, revealing his figure. It turned out to be Crown Prince Crocodile. He glanced around with his crocodile-cold eyes. It's the Phoenix's flame fruit tree's aura. The news is right. Phoenix's flame fruit tree was here. What a pity I was late. But why do I sense the aura of that human brat? Crown Prince Crocodile carefully investigated the lingering aura. Despite Phoenix's flame fruit tree's flame burning everything, he could still easily distinguish many things. That human brat. He is not dead yet, and yet he dares to come over. Fine, he will die no matter if he did murder Yi Xiangtian or not. Crown Prince Crocodile looked around coldly, and then disappeared again in the horizon. When Yi Shiwen found the Wang family again, it was hundreds of miles away. The Wang family's party did not go far. They had been waiting for Yi Shiwen hundreds of miles away. Seeing Yi Ziwen's emergence, everyone in the Wang family was overjoyed. At that time, when they saw Yi Shiwen joining the battle for Phoenix's flame fruit, they were somewhat worried. However, Yi Shiwen had already joined the battle. Even if they were worried, they were helpless with it. As a matter of fact, the competitors were ruthless experts in this sea region. Especially Scarlet Thunder, Immortal of Scarlet Thunder Gang. She ranked in the top 100 among the young experts. For the young masters in the Wang family, Scarlet Thunder Immortal was an expert who soared high in the sky. "Brother Yi, are you okay?" consoled Wang Mingyu. "I'm fine." Yi Shiwen shook his head. As he spoke, he took out a Phoenix's flame fruit from Tianyuan mirror, and threw it to Wang Mingyu. Wang Mingyu took the Phoenix's flame fruit. Her beautiful eyes looked at it inexplicably. This is definitely Phoenix's flame fruit. Not bad. She will not admit it. It's just that she didn't expect that she could still get Phoenix's flame fruit. You know, this is Phoenix's flame fruit. Let alone them. Even a master who surpasses Transcendent Realm will be crazy when they see Phoenix's flame fruit. Yi Shiwen might grab one or two. This was all in her expectation. After all, Yi Shiwen had already shown his strength before they left. This was not too surprising. However, what was unexpected for him was Yi Shiwen would actually give them one Phoenix's flame fruits. "You deserve it." Yi Shiwen smiled. If he only grabbed one, he would naturally keep it for himself. Since he had 5 Phoenix's flame fruits, so naturally he didn't mind giving them one. "This is too expensive, we really don't know what to say," said Wang Mingyu. Although they did discover the fruit tree, they were eliminated from the contest long ago. They had nothing to say even if Yi Shiwen didn't give it to them. This was a world where strength comes first. "It's fine. It's just a Phoenix's flame fruit. After all, we still have to continue exploring together, right?" Yi Shiwen said with a smile. "Since Brother Yi gave it to us, we won't refuse it anymore. It will be meaningless," said Wang Feiyun. "Well then, the Wang family young master is in your favor," said Wang Mingyu. After Wang Mingyu accepted the Phoenix's flame fruit, Yi Shiwen and the Wang family finally set off again. Yi Shiwen had a map in hand, which made it much easier. However, there were others beside Yi Shiwen who had a map in hand. Yi Shiwen went to a few places marked in the map. He discovered that someone had already looted the places. Treasures were all ransacked. Yi Shiwen could only give up in regret. Of course, not all things had been raided. There were also cases where Yi Shiwen arrived first while the other forces had not visited yet. In general, due to the maps, most of these treasures were harvested already. "Brother Yi, on this map, there is a place marked with exclamation. It will only open for the 3 days in the middle of the month. Coincidentally, we're in the middle of the month," commented Wang Feiyun. Yi Shiwen didn't hide the map from the Wang family, since it was unnecessary. Yi Shiwen even showed them the map. In this kind of team, it was better to hear everyone's opinion. Yi Shiwen suddenly remembered and said, "The Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion?" Although this area was considered Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion, the map indicated that it was still the outskirt area of Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion. The actual Holy Realm Dweller's Mansion lay deep in this land in the center. Yi Shiwen even suspected that this might be the gate of a certain huge force. They were only at the gate. The actual Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion should be the garrison base of this sect. Yi Shiwen thought it through. They had visited all the places marked on the map, and they had basically explored them thoroughly. Basically, those treasures either fell into the hands of Yi Shiwen, or ended up in the hands of other people with maps. Yi Shiwen basically hadn't gained much, except for Phoenix's flame fruit. He only had some fairly good herbal pellets that were relatively rare in the outside world. But it was not something of much value for Yi Shiwen. Hence, he sold part of it to Wang Mingyu, earning 2 million spirit crystals. This made his trip still fruitful. Yi Shiwen felt spending 15 million to buy the map was worth it. All in all, due to the Phoenix's flame fruit's harvest. Even getting just one Phoenix's flame fruit made it worthwhile. At this time, judging from the area marked on the map, this was the only area that was not explored yet. The Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion was in the center. Since it was previously not opened, no one adventures there. With the opening of the mansion approaching already, they would need to visit the place. Those who had maps in their hands had probably gathered all in one spot. Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion was the most crucial part of the trip. In places that were not marked on the maps, there might be treasures. However, the problem was that a gradual one-by-one exploration would waste a lot of time, which was the factor lacking for this exploration. Yi Shiwen even needed to avoid the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan who might come. That's right. This is the place. We've all searched around here. We should not miss any great treasure, said Wang Feiyun. Yi Shiwen also prospected that the Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion would not be open forever. His time might only be 1 month. After 1 month, the Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion would close again and disappear. If they remained in the Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion when it was closed, they would be locked inside. As for when they could leave, it was unknown. No one knew when Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion would be open next time. Based on the information in the map, this opening should not be the first time. Otherwise, no maps would surface. Only that they didn't know when was the previous opening. It could be numerous years ago. Yi Shiwen nodded. After making up their minds, Yi Shiwen and the Wang family began to move toward the center of the barren land. As they got closer and closer to the center, Yi Shiwen realized that more and more experts were moving towards this area. Not only those experts who have got the map, but also experts including many individual cultivators. As if they had received news, all began to move closer to this area. Soon Yi Shiwen and others rushed to the most central mountain gate of Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion. It was among the mountain range. The only thing everyone could see was a huge palace standing on the top of the mountain, but this palace was surrounded by clusters of flames. According to the map, unless it was when the Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion opened, it would always be surrounded by flames. Chapter 879. Encirclement. As the opening time of Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion approached, the flames here weakened little by little until the place became accessible. By the time Yi Shiwen arrived, hundreds of people were there already. After another hour, the whole place was heavily crowded. Obviously, it was not just those who have the map that got the news. Some individual cultivators and lone warriors also got the news that the Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion was about to open through various means. When we head in, stick closely with me. I don't know what lies within this Holy Realm Dwellers' Mansion. We must be careful, said Yi Shiwen to the Wang family. Everyone in the Wang family nodded their heads. There were many experts around them. If they didn't stick tightly with Yi Shiwen, they stood no chance at all. It was their paramount priority to stick tight with Yi Shiwen. Suddenly, Yi Shiwen noticed the sunny bamboo chamber of commerce not far away. Yao Qian took the lead. She stood there like a muse. Many surrounding cultivators gazed at her, but no one dared to approach her. Everyone knew that this muse in front of them was a successful woman. The most intimidating factor was her relationship with Unparalleled Sword. Unparalleled Sword was one of the strongest warriors among the younger generation. Even older generation's experts were unmatched to him. Just the words Unparalleled Sword would strike fear on people. But then Yi Shiwen saw a few rather unkind gazes. It was none other than the vanishing shadow poisonous crocodile clan's experts. Ying, who was leading the clan, stared at Yi Shiwen and the Wang family viciously. Yi Shiwen secretly regretted miscalculation. He was thinking about what to do next. The flames began to weaken. Someone shouted. Everyone's attention was instantly drawn over. Sure enough, the flames surrounding the entire palace began to weaken bit by bit. Soon the intensity dropped more than half. When it was about 1/3 of its initial intensity, and everyone was still waiting for the flame to finally go out, they heard an extremely domineering voice. Unparalleled sword, do you dare to charge in now? Before the words were over, a tall figure jumped out. This person was no one else but the Crown Prince Crocodile of Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan. At this time, Crown Prince Crocodile launched himself into the air and plunged directly into the flames. At the moment his body was in contact with the flames, a water barrier suddenly appeared and wrapped him in the sky. He stopped the flame outside of his water barrier. It was obviously a martial instrument. Why don't I dare? Almost after Crown Prince Crocodile, a figure quickly jumped out. He utilized his sword aura, opening a path among the flame. A sharp weapon seemed to cut the monstrous fire wave into half in an instant. A figure launched directly into the flames. Everyone heaved a heavy sigh. The flames here were still more than 10 feet high, so they couldn't rush in at all. If someone were to rush in blatantly just now, they would be burned alive into charcoal. Since many people arrived at different time periods, there was still a crowd not knowing what had happened. They rushed directly into the flames, meeting their demise. They were burned directly into charcoal. Originally, they didn't put this flame in their eyes. Since the martial artist had ascended after Truth Realm, they could self-regenerate and do many things that he could not do before. Diving into water or fire was not a big problem. However, this flame was different. Even the Transcendent Realm experts equipped with aura barrier would be burned into charcoal. These two people actually broke in directly. Although they didn't know what technique they used, it was shocking enough for everyone. But before everyone continued to sigh, they heard a murderous voice coming from not far away. Brat, you are not dead yet? You still dare to appear here. It seems that you are really getting impatient. The person who spoke was Ying, who originally thought he could not catch up with Yi Shiwen, so he could only let Yi Shiwen go. Who knew that Yi Shiwen had appeared again now? It was a godsend opportunity for him. Yi Shiwen was seeking his own death. Fancy finding by sheer luck what Ying had searched for far and wide. It took no effort. Wait a minute. Stay away from me. Yi Shiwen immediately sent voice transmission to everyone in the Wang family. Everyone in the Wang family looked at Yi Shiwen and then didn't speak. This might be the best way at this time. Indeed, if they appeared to be familiar with Yi Shiwen, they might end up worsening Yi Ziwen's situation. They wouldn't be of any help at all. You dare to kill my Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan members. You are courting death. Then Ying strode towards Yi Shiwen arrogantly. He did not bat an eye on Yi Shiwen at all. Go. Kill him. I want him to die without a place to be buried, shouted Ying coldly. At this moment, the 8 Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's young experts behind him and Bai Chen all rushed towards Yi Shiwen in an instant. All of them were Transcendent Realm 5th level experts. Bai Chen and Ying were Transcendent Realm 5th level peak. Their figures almost tore the air. The fastest one was Bai Chen, like a green lightning. He instantly rushed in front of Yi Shiwen. The saber in his palm appeared, drawing a dangerous arc in the sky, thrusting directly toward Yi Ziwen's throat. It was like a cold-blooded warrior in the dark. People would shudder in fear facing him. In his reptile eyes, there was an icy glitter. Dang! There was a loud metal collision noise. Yi Shiwen threw out his fist to withstand the fatal blow, but the tremendous power pushed him back. After Bai Chen, several terrifying attacks blasted at him, almost like a shadow. Those few Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan Transcendent Realm 5th level experts jointly blasted out a huge crocodile condensed by water. The crocodile opened its mouth directly at Yi Shiwen. Being able to condense such terrifying water under such dry conditions, it was conceivable that these Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile Clan experts were powerful. Even if they were not as good as Ying, they should not be underestimated. Boom. At the critical moment, Yi Shiwen avoided the blow. The vicious crocodile directly hit a mountain peak, directly blasting the mountain peak into pieces. What followed was Yi Ying's offense. Yi Ying grabbed forward, drawing a huge claw which covered the half of the sky. The attack swooshed toward Yi Shiwen. The entire sky was like a wrinkled cloth. The space was constantly in distortion, boiling with energy. Boom. At the very moment, Yi Shiwen was still able to avoid this fatal claw attack. However, the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan experts had surrounded him. When the people around saw Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's experts teaming up to encircle Yi Shiwen, they all stopped paying attention to the palace. Many people knew the grievances between Yi Shiwen and the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. This kid is really seeking death. He even dares to show up under the chase of the Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan in the sea region around this area could be regarded as fierce and mighty. They would never miss their target. Therefore, it was a miracle for ordinary people to escape. No one would dare to come back. They would only flee from this sea region as far as they could, leaving the region under Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's influence. From this perspective, Yi Shiwen could indeed be considered audacious. Brat, where else can you go? Ying looked at Yi Shiwen with a grim face. He now finally understood why Yi Shiwen was able to escape from Bai Chen's chase. Bai Chen couldn't even catch him. His speed was indeed extremely fast. Although Yi Shiwen had been able to kill the Transcendent Realm 5th level Peaks warrior, he was still having difficulty facing the Transcendent Realm 5th level opponent. Not to mention the existence of two terrifying figures in the Transcendent Realm 5th level peak, Yi Ying and Bai Chen. Anyone with this strength could rank high among the younger generation of experts. They should not be underestimated. If it were not for Yi Shiwen having demon wings which boosted his speed, the Transcendent Realm 5th level experts could behead him. Yi Shiwen, be careful. Yi Mo reminded. The Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's Transcendent Realm 5th level experts cooperated with each other very well. They had cooperated for countless years after all. This attack blocked off all Yi Ziwen's escape route. Facing Vanishing Shadow Poisonous Crocodile clan's tight pursuit, Yi Shiwen evaded several waves of attacks in a row. The space he could move was getting smaller and smaller. He was almost forced into a dead end. Yi Shiwen could only gritted his teeth and shouted, "Fight!" The demon wings behind Yi Shiwen fanned immediately. His figure turned into a cluster of golden light. No, he wants to break through the encirclement. Stop him! Shouted Ying immediately. However, what he never anticipated was that Yi Shiwen had successfully escaped. His escape route was not in any of their directions but the palace surrounded by flames. Although the flame weakened a lot by this time, it was still enough to burn people into charcoal. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.